Hello, and welcome back to CrestVahllen, the Argent Flame. This will be... we're going to start on the second of High Lock. This is session 21. We're going to split it up into a couple episodes. Without further ado, let's do our recap of what happened, and then we'll introduce all of our characters. Here we go. All right, one moment, and here we go. Great. Awaking on the second of High Lock, the rest of the party come to terms with what had happened the night before. While Cole begins to work on his new lament, Trisheni transcribes a few spells, and Zemdak buries himself in his tinkering. Descending from the rooftop, Milodonith and Sofka share a note that was left by Argus, detailing his newfound modus operandi. Reviewing the information known about the host, the gang realized that they may have made a more powerful enemy than they had previously thought. I lost my space. Yes, the conspiracy theories and possible plans within plans are discussed as the group awaits Argus's return. While Milodonith begins the biopsy of Cole's liver, Log and Shakar stealthily haunt the streets, searching for Argus. Eventually found praying before the brazier in the town square, Argus soon departs toward Cairn Tower as the General Assembly horn is heard. While at the assembly, Argus learns that the warden was killed during the incursion, and those who are found sick will be turned to stone until a treatment for their condition can be found. The Lieutenant, Security 4, has instituted martial law and has assumed control of Karadim during this turbulent time. Argus sneaks into the sewers and makes his way back to Tinctures for Tinkers, while Milodonith scrambles to finish the surgery. Amidst the tension, the prank wars begin, with an obscene drawing upon Cole's face. While Gizmo dons an illusory beard and begins learning the basics of alchemy from Milodonith, the rest of the party hide in the sewers to avoid the acolytes of the temples going door to door, searching for those who are sick/infected. After some light flirtation, the gang reconvene and shoot off some messages to some companions, learning that Eleazar is a prisoner of the host and Pernua is with them, no longer within the city limits. Some information is swapped with the baker's dozen before Argus uses a spellcraft to discover the form of Log's disturbing-looking unseen servant. The group rest and head north via the catacombs the next morning, searching for a way to enter the Triway unnoticed. Discovering a smuggler's tunnel, the group press on into the Triway, wary of the dangers that are ever present in the underworld. During several days of travel, Trisheni encounters difficulty coping with being underground. On the 6th of High Lock, an odd metallic sound, seemingly originating from a side tunnel, grabs the attention of the Argent Flame. Upon investigation, they find a cable extending down a vertical tunnel with a basket of Warforged parts hanging from its bottom. But before the rest of the group can rejoin, the basket is gone. The group ascend the shaft, curiosity and discovery at the forefront of their minds. After 300 feet of a vertical climb, the party reach a chamber, seemingly another ancient Warforged workshop. Within, a tiefling in monastic robes, unaware of the party, carelessly sorts through the detritus, eventually finding a large metal trunk. Startled by Gizmo, the tiefling accidentally triggers something on the trunk, causing it to shift and change, taking the form of a Warforged infantry unit. Welcome back to CrestVahllen. All right, guys, let's go around the table and introduce ourselves. Adam.
I'm Adam. I play Zemdak Flint Sweeper, the gnome artificer of the group. If it's not broke, it could be soon, but I'll fix it.
Great. And then we have Theo.
I'm Theo, but today I'm actually Sofka, and Sofka still doesn't know what's going on, let's be honest.
Catching up.
All right, my name is Kevin. I'll be playing Cole Vodison. I am the Lord Bard, new Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, and if you prank me, I will prank you back.
I'm Kenton. I play Argus Firebeard, or Dwarf Cleric.
And I cast Sending. What do you mean I'm out of credits? I just burned someone yesterday.
I'm Noelle. I play Trishandi Unkmut. I am the Kenrin wizard of the group, and I'm really trusting my friends to get me through to the other side of the Triway.
And I am Cody, and I play Log Jammin'. Remember, kids, reading is fun and mental. Oh, wait, no. Shit. Fundamental.
Yep. There you go.
Nice, guys. All right. So, as we discussed and as we picked up, you left off in this ancient Warforged workshop that appears to be derelict and left for who knows, since time immemorial, probably since the Great Wars. Gizmo had startled a blue tiefling individual that was messing with some sort of, not necessarily steampunk, but old, odd, asymmetrical tech steamer trunk that apparently had a large dial on it, and then you went like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they bumped the dial, and it went, and you heard that whine that you hear when a TV's on in another room from the old cathode ray tube TVs, but it's black and you can't tell it's on, but you can hear it. It's that kind of whine, and then it starts to spin up, and full Transformer style pieces turn out and change and rotate and fold in on themselves before a fully about 8-ish tall Warforged, 7 to 8-ish tall Warforged stands there, its eyes glowing with a bright light. What do you guys do?
Cole, I'm going to say, go ahead.
I just want to have Shakar come back onto my shoulder. That's all, so I can see.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's all.
Shakar the owl flies down to your shoulder.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Cole's going to go, whoa. We're not trying to fight here. Just calm down for a second.
Lynn, would you please explain what your character looks like to the group?
Yes, I'm a tiefling. She's early 20s, young, dressed in monk's robes. She is blue, long dark blue hair. She's holding a staff and looking very surprised.
Lance, will you please tell me what they see before them, this hulking construct?
Sure. It is clearly a Warforged, a composite of wood, steel. It's the noseless faceplate of the Warforged is gold-hued bronze. The rest of the external tissue is a red rust color. Composite plates and chainmail are integrated into the body. And its eyes are, the crystals have almost a vaguely reptilian look. The crystals are gold and have a black vertical pupil.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you. That was awesome.
Cool. Great. You, as per your protocol and programming, scan everything that you see before you. Do me a favor, roll just a straight perception check for me. It's not hard. None of you are currently hiding now. All of you are out.
I am a monkey right now.
You're a monkey right now?
Yeah.
Thank you for telling me that. That was very important.
Yeah, I know.
And you're Rick Moranis. That's correct. Yes, Log is Rick Moranis, and Sofka is a monkey. Okay, it's very important.
Log uses alter self to change himself into not the most attractive actors out there.
We'll figure out a better way to make some more room at some point.
Yeah. Sorry to get that, guys.
20.
20. You look around, you see a dwarf. The first thing you notice, dwarf. Okay, cool. Great. Next thing you notice, looks like a gnome with tech on them. Okay, you think it's probably one of the techs that might be of one of the builders here. So immediately you designate gnome, dwarf, allies. The rest you see.
Sorry, who's playing the dwarf?
Kenton is playing Argus the dwarf, and then and the rest you see Kenrin. Your refugee protocol engages. You know that this is a Kenra. They're meant to be protected at all costs. One of your immediate protocols is to interpose yourself between them and any other threats that may be, especially elves, because they were pretty much your because the Razorfang Mountain Grange protected them during the war. So that's, you physically, literally, and figuratively protected them as refugees during the war. So you have 3 people that are like, okay, great. The rest you see a human, another oddly ugly-looking human, and a monkey, an owl, and a blue tiefling. Nothing sets off any, like, alarm protocols. Just, the thing is, not all of you are supposed to be here, at least, but you also don't really know. You know that you're, like, in a workshop because you look around and you analyze, but you're wondering why civilians are in a workshop. Yeah. Take it, guys.
Where is the maker?
Greetings, infantry unit. The war has been over for quite a long time. This factory, this workshop was abandoned. You can stand at ease. There's no need for alarm at this moment.
Are you the ranking officer?
The ranking maintenance officer.
You're a maker.
Great.
Also, Conk is here, isn't he, too?
Yeah, my own
see-
construct is sort
Right.
of flanking.
Can you
right
describe
behind me.
Conk to Lance here?
Very sort of ape-like. He's only about 5 feet tall, so he's about half your size, but very sort of primate-like. His arms reach all the way down to the ground. Sort of dome-shaped head without very
There's a
many
mini here
features.
somewhere, right?
Yeah, even less features than you have. Sort of a large barrel on his back. His the only real like defining features of him is there's a wolfish dog. It looked like it used to be a sculpture, but it was like made into a chest plate, and so there's a glowing of his energy source behind that dog face, so the eyes glow and there's a little bit of glow from inside of it, an emerald color. But he's almost all solid metal.
A little odd. It's not something you haven't, like, been programmed to recognize, but, yeah.
Turn to the tiefling. How are you today?
This is absolutely fascinating. And she pulls out a notebook and finds a flat surface and starts writing.
Yeah, the flattest surface you have is like a piece of sheet metal that's kind of like angled up against a table. So you're like on your knees writing on the ground a little bit.
Did all of you talk with the Gelatinous Cube also, or did you just stumble in here?
Gelatinous Cube? We haven't encountered one of those.
Oh, a very, very, very nice little cube. Wow, this is absolutely amazing. Hold on a second, I need to take some notes.
She pulls her quill and her ink and her notebook out.
Cole's kind of looking over her shoulder to see what she's writing, as he'd love to see another.
What language are you writing in?
I'm actually writing this in Dwarven at the moment.
Do you speak Dwarvish?
I do.
Okay, so you want to tell him like the gist of what it is that you're writing down?
So I've made a very quick little sketch of a map.
Unless you're trying to like be like, don't look at my
Oh,
shit.
no, she moves over and lets him look over her
Okay,
shoulder.
cool.
And so she's doing a map from the main road, how she got up. She's starting to make notes about what she's found and any symbols that she's seeing. She's also written down the safety plate and
right.
every detail she can get in, and she's writing very, very quickly.
Okay.
Argus, with your passive perception, you like look around. A lot of this stuff has been like it's aged. Obviously, there's a lot of things here that have meant to last the ages, especially the like the winch stuff that's attached to the ceiling, where you could like move heavy stuff around with cranes, the whole grid pattern. But there is like a sheet metal bolted to the wall of this workstone cavern. That is, it's half eroded, but other one says like, always wear a hard hat, like this many days until an incident. And so she's like taking notes and be like, oh, interesting. They had safety warnings even back then.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to get a thing like that to carry around with Log. Days since Log has helped.
Days since long have helped.
He would try to keep that at 0 at all.
I know.
He would try. That's the worst part.
Well, too bad. trying.
Actually, I don't think
Yeah.
Log would try to keep it at 0. Log just always wants to help.
Yeah, poor body. Aw. Great. So you're writing. What are you doing, Lance?
His head swivels back and forth as listening to everyone speak.
Infantry unit, do you know what year you were created? Do you know how long it's been?
Do I know that?
If I tell him the current year,
Do me a
can
favor.
he
Roll an
calculate it out?
intelligence saving throw.
Oof, not my strongest. 9.
9. You like reach out to the annals of your like database, and you find like corrupted files from Origin, like Origin dates.
Negative. Information incomplete. Physical diagnostics are complete. Function is optimal. Directive test also confirmed optimal.
So, you're in great condition. Your memory's a little wonky. Do you have any outstanding orders?
Protect the dwarves and the gnomes and the Kenrin. Fight the elves.
Is the 2 primary, you mean?
2 primary objectives.
Right.
Follow orders is the other one, but you don't. Nobody's really like ranking here. Well, I mean that's up to you to decide, really.
Right. Protect the dwarves and gnomes, as well as the Kenrin, and win the war.
Objective update. The war is over. The dwarves were successful in beating back the elves.
Is this a secondary directives test?
No. Just trying to update that wonky memory of yours.
This is not the proper interface for updating my memory.
I'm aware, however, my maintenance key was destroyed in my last encounter.
We should go look for
You're
another
aware
one.
of this. The diagnostic tool / maintenance key. There's a port in the back of your neck, very like matrix style.
Yeah.
That's meant for a certain key to like update certain stuff. It's rarely ever used, but you do know that you have a port there. It's also in your protocol to protect that thing at all costs from damage, because if somebody gets into it, you're fucked.
I found a box of stuff. Do you want to look at that?
Sure.
That's actually what brought us up here. We were following a basket down below that had some Warforged parts in it. And then when we got there, it was gone, so we followed the rope up.
Oh, that was me. Sorry, but they fit perfectly into his case.
You look at him now, and you see some of the pieces that you had put into the chest are now composed into his form. Almost like his box was his body, and he full Transformer styled incorporated all those pieces into his form.
Cool. Most of those pieces are in him at the moment.
You are not approved for maintenance.
Sorry.
If you have any more, I'm sure Boots over there would like to see them.
He's, for those who are listening, Adam just went, yes, he called me Boots.
I have an arm, a piece of an arm. I have a piece of a hand. So I'll hand them off to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the pinky and the ring finger that goes into the musculature under the thumb. It doesn't include the index and the middle finger. And there is a like an ulna with like what would be representative of like the bone of an ulna, steel with ironwood musculature wrapped around it.
Okay. Can I give this a good once-over?
Sure. What is it you're trying to discern?
See if there's any way I can learn how to improve my own constructs. Construction.
I understand. Cool. Side note about this: it's worth noting that for you to entirely understand the construction of these items, you'll have to intimately understand the workings of ironwood, because ironwood is a very specific type of material that it doesn't act like regular metal or regular wood by any stretch of the imagination.
This is more just like basic
Sure.
checking,
Yeah.
understanding, and
I'll say roll a tinkering check, intelligence based. Expertise, you motherfucker.
nat 20.
Nat 20, so what, at 29?
31.
31!
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay,
gonna be a good day today.
You
Tater.
figure something out. You figure something about ironwood that people wouldn't know unless they worked with ironwood and they were taught to be about ironwood. You figure out that ironwood actually starts out as regular wood. Just
Okay.
regular trees that are just somewhat enchanted by magic just by growing, but in the land that they grow in. And you know from the stories and lore that you heard, both of you know that ironwood comes from the Shalian cradle. It's like only ever found there,
Okay.
which means that in order to have enough ironwood to make these warforged, someone needed to have a connection deep into ancient elven territorial lands.
They had to import a lot of this stuff
lot
from
of it.
the enemy
So from the enemy lands.
to create these things.
Not only that, ironwood starts off as regular wood, and not until it's actually like petrified, and I mean that in the literal sense, scared, does it actually take the form of because the tree's a living being. So it's not until it's actually scared, you build a relationship with it, and then you scare it, does it actually form to be strong,
Okay.
like this. So it's a bit of a moral gray area as to, I mean, the gnomes and the dwarves back then probably were like, we don't have time to be moral about this. The fate of like the continent is
Whatever helps.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you realize that because you go and you get all your little monocle things go
Yeah.
down there and you get to like a slight microscopic view of it and you see plant cells within it that are still active.
Cool.
I mean, Conk has hands now that kind of work, but
Yeah.
I would be trying to figure out like mechanically how it works and like if there's any like improvements from this that I can incorporate into
Yeah,
my own
think of it
inventions.
more like cyborg construction.
Yeah. But I
rather
realize
than
it's more-
mechanical servos
Yep.
and that kind of thing, it's more like
It's completely different.
yeah, it's
paradigm.
bioengineering where it's fully mechanical, but it is absolutely after the bioengineering of how our ligaments and muscles work. Just substituting it with ironwood and other different types of metal. You actually find that some of the more flexible parts of the structure are used with are soft metals that are flexible, like gold, are used for certain like ligaments and tendons. It is absolutely modeled off of the anatomy, which makes you think, especially because you rolled so fucking high with a 31, it makes you think, okay, this looks like if a Simic scientist was told to build a robot.
Okay. So it's like anatomically, it's human. Like it's like a human,
Uh-huh.
but it's
But
made
it's
out
fully
of
mechanical.
inorganic parts.
Exactly. Well,
Organic and inorganic.
semi-inorganic, yeah.
Just replace like the human tissue is replaced with metal and wood.
Yeah, fully cyborg-esque. Really, it's just that they weren't born; they were created.
Sort of as I'm doing this absent-mindedly, I'm gonna infantry unit. Do you have a designation?
My designation is REV-1K. The original maker phoneticized my designation and referred to me as Revik.
Revik, you said your diagnostics reported you were in optimal conditions.
Yes, I am combat ready.
Her unauthorized maintenance caused no issues?
No.
Willow gives you a look.
Good.
All systems are optimal. Am I now to be deployed?
Unfortunately, there's no one here to deploy you. Stand by for further orders.
You guys are so lucky you have an artificer in your group.
Yes. Yes.
We've noticed that a few times.
Conk looks a little
Just keep
jealous,
it
like bitch. Can he look if a built robot could blush?
After I'm done with this hand, I'm going to start sort of sifting through the other detritus, see if there's anything else interesting in this room.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and roll an investigation check. What are the rest of you guys doing?
So I'm going to just try and, based on the last encounter with the Warforged, I'm going to try and stay out of his direct line of sight a little bit for the most part. But then, since this is not the first time we've seen monastic robes and that emblem, is there anyone from my history who I think might also belong to that order?
Ooh, that's a good question. Roll a history check.
Damn, I'm -1 on that, so 18.
18. It's still good. You remember specifically a time when you were supposed to raid a caravan, Your mother spotted that one of the people in the caravan were wearing robes very, very, very similar to this, and said, "Forget it. We'll wait for the next one."
So it wasn't the person I was
It's
thinking
not
of,
worth
but-
it. Well, who's the person you were thinking of?
The leader?
What?
The leader?
Oh, right. Because he wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, but he wasn't in his robes.
But I recognized the fighting style when I saw it in the
Right, but you haven't seen her fight yet.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what comes to mind.
I mean, but open hoof, right?
You
It's the
recognize
same-
it immediately.
It's the same
you
order,
have to see the emblem on the robes and everything. You recognize that she's a monk of the open hoof.
which was the same one, Yudish, right?
Yes.
Yiddish?
Yes, Yudish.
Was open hoof as well, right?
Hoof. Yes, I did it inchromatically. Hoof. H-O-O-V-E. Yes, I know it's not grammatically correct. It's my world. I get to do whatever I want.
Can I?
The symbol is. It's actually.
It's drawn somewhere.
I have stuff for you.
Hey!
This is
Welcome,
yours.
welcome.
And this is yours. I put some stuff
Yeah.
on there already, and here are your binders if you choose to use them.
TJ is giving out some cool dice boxes.
So
to
that's the
players.
symbol of the Order of the Open Hoof right there. If you want to show that, it's a symbol of like a goat hoof. In the background, there's some mountains, and on the foreground, it's a head of a goat.
So you guys know, TJ actually makes all of our dice boxes, and he actually burns little symbols into all of the dice boxes based on what we've done and
Character
what's
development.
going on. And so he just handed those out to.
Yeah. Every time your
our
character
new friends.
reaches like like a personality or a character development milestone, I'll burn some symbol in there to remind you of where you've been and how far you've come, that kind of thing.
All of our images have a story behind it.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pictography. Think of it like hieroglyphics, as it were.
I'm burning all of my good rolls early.
Yeah.
I got a 28 on that.
28 on your investigation.
For anybody who has listened to our first campaign or our first recorded session, stream session, the very end when we did my multi-class, that's actually on my box where you see the tentacles coming out of my
Oh
eyes.
yeah.
and
Eventually, I'll
everything
like
that.
take pictures of them and post
Oh, yeah.
them like when a whole side is finished or something. We'll figure it out. You got a 28 for your investigation. This room is rather scant. You find here's the deal. You find pieces and not constituent pieces, but pieces like an arm and a clavicle and a head of a warforged hanging on these type of like maintenance stands that are attached and bolted to the wall and chains holding them there. But you don't find any like spare parts anywhere. It's all detritus and scrap that is basically trash. Think of like a warehouse of like junk welders that just goes like, oh, I could use this for something, and they just throw it into a pile, and it's not really useful for anything. There's a couple tables that are like fallen over. Other than that, there's two main things. There's a lower half of a warforged that's just the waist down with the two legs being suspended by some chains on one of those maintenance like ports or what would you call it? I don't know. And the one that has an arm and a clavicle that goes into his head.
Okay.
And that's about it. But there's no like spare parts anywhere. There's nothing else here. However, you notice under the foot of the blue tiefling, as she's doing notes, appears to be what looks like some sort of, I don't want to say parchment. It looks like a piece of paper that's made out of ironwood itself.
Excuse me, miss. I don't think we ever caught your name.
Oh, I'm Willa.
Willa?
Yes,
Willow or
Willa.
okay, thanks.
Willa, there's a
Like the tree.
Yes, like the tree.
Yeah.
there's a little fragment there under your foot. Do you mind if I like tug at it a little
Oh
bit?
no, please. Can I look at it when you're done?
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course.
Yeah, you pick it up, and it looks like just like how the way paper is made, but like chopping it up and cutting it thin and then baking it, and it looks like that. It's a pain process has been done to this to make a parchment out of ironwood, so that it would never age and it would be consistent. And rather than it being like ink on paper, it looks like the paper itself, the grain of the wood that would have made the paper, had been like programmed to show the image that it needed to show. So the grains themselves on the thin piece of paper show the image.
So it's like a permanent illusory image.
Yeah, but it's not
baked
illusion, it's
into-
physical.
Right,
Right.
but it's baked into this
Yeah.
piece.
It's like the
like a
grains were
record.
programmed to show, and you look at it, it looks like schematics.
Yes.
Yes.
So, looking at the Warforged, Cole's mind's gonna latch on there for a second, and he's just gonna wonder
Sure, go ahead.
out loud in his thoughts. I didn't know gelatinous cubes could communicate. This is fascinating. I need to get that down.
To the Warforged?
Yes.
Okay. You hear it, Revik, you hear in your mind that phrase. Like, your immediate thought is like, uh-oh, virus?
Maker, additional diagnostics are necessary.
Self-diagnostics, or do you need my assistance?
I will require interface.
What seems to be the issue?
In addition to the previously discussed memory fragmentation, there is thought divergence.
Further explanation, thought divergence.
Thoughts that do not originate with me.
Oh, I point to Rick Moranis, one of the humans. Shapeshifter, contains telepathic abilities.
It wasn't me.
To be on the shower. It wasn't me.
Other human has shown newly awakened telepathic abilities.
Just so you guys know, as a human, the one defining feature now for me is that my sclera on my eyes is permanently red, like bloodshot all the time. Doesn't go away, just looks like a crimson. My eyes are always crimson now. Outside.
Cole, were you thinking about anything specific just now?
Just the fact that she said that she communicated with a gelatinous cube. I didn't know they could communicate. I have to get that down in my notes.
Do those general thoughts match up with aberrant
Yes, confirmed.
patterns?
External source identified.
He seems to be leaking. We're working on it.
I'm gonna get you back.
The mind is leaking.
It's a valid.
This is-
a valid.
Oh yeah, no, it totally is. 'Cause I don't
Totally
understand-
valid description
It
of
is.
what's happening.
Just the way he said it that way.
By the way, Revik, designate shapeshifters as mercenary allies. Stand vigilant, but they are not enemies.
There are many types of shapeshifters that represent significant threats.
I'll point to him
Confirm.
specifically, this biologic unit, and then I'll point to the monkey. This one as well.
I'm gonna stay as a monkey.
Do you wish me to place them within the civilian protection profile?
No, that's okay. Currently designate as tentative ally. Stand vigilant.
Order confirmed.
Go
Yeah,
back to
Combat
studying my
combat.
new schematic.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay.
Go
as a
ahead
monkey.
and roll. This is super complex
Yeah,
stuff.
that's fine.
Go ahead and roll another tinkering check for me. Pardon me. Intelligence base.
Guidance?
I yelled it before you rolled.
Pats you on the back. It's a meaty dwarf hand.
23.
23. This looks like some sort of projectile weapon of some kind, but it's not powered by. It looks to be, but it's not powered by ballistics. It's powered by pure arcane magic.
Does it look like? Is there a finished product picture? In
It's
part of
mostly a
this
cross section and a bunch of pieces like pulled off
exploded?
from it. It's exploded. Yeah.
Could I compare this to the weapon that Master Oros found in the other
It
workshop?
looks to be actually modeled off of said weapon.
Okay, so it's
Like,
similar.
like it had been
design.
seen, like someone's trying to copy a patent without being, without getting sued. But
trying to reverse
this is
engineer.
entirely unfinished.
Okay,
It looks like whatever Oros found,
was a finished.
somebody
product
else
of-
had.
was trying to reverse engineer.
They were trying to reverse engineer it, and it looks like you can see by the way it was like handled with little thought that it didn't work, and they just kind of tossed it.
Willa, I'd like this back when you're
Willow.
done with it. Willa.
Willow, like
It's
the
Willow?
tree with OW.
Yes.
Okay. Willow, I would like this back. I think I can finish it, but feel free to study it for now.
Thank you. And is there a language on it, or is it just a schematic?
It is in Gnomish.
Okay. So I start.
Which is why you
Rapid.
were able to get so much information. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I start rapidly. I pull out another piece of vellum and just.
Do your best to copy machine. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll sleight of hand for me. See how well your copy is.
So that's it. There's the
21.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, you can't read it, but it looks the same to me. Like, as someone who like couldn't read Arabic, trying to copy Arabic is kind of what it looks like. But it looks good. Like some of that has more like the old type of Roman characters. Trying to copy a language that has completely different characters. That's what it's kind of like. But it looks good.
Can Cole look around for one of those diagnostic tools, see if there's one around here?
You can. Zemdak.
Okay, I missed that.
A
part.
rifle's
Like,
pretty
listening
good.
on that.
Yeah, he went pretty hard, and he said there's really nothing else here except for
That
this.
was probably
Now-
I was checking sound, so sorry.
learning a little bit more about ironwood.
Mhm.
Were any of the pieces of the old maintenance key made out of ironwood?
Of the diagnostic tool?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Shit.
Yeah, that's actually the main conduits for like the spike that very Matrix style. Don't sue me. That goes into the back of the thing. Is there? That's the part. That's one of the big things that was missing that had snapped off. Was the spike that goes up and it like it puts the terrazine energy into it to possibly activate it so that it shoots out tendrils into the cranium of the thing that you're shoving it into.
Okay. That's going to be hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean, the main reason we came up here is we thought you might need assistance, but it doesn't seem like you do. I mean, were you just up here investigating? How'd you find this place?
Oh, well, as I was saying, I met a Sentient Cube who let me know. I was talking to him that I was looking for old places. So, doing some research for the Order, and he pointed me in this direction. So, I'm happy I wandered up here.
Yeah.
Which way did you come from? Was it the same like shaft, or was it a different? Oh, okay.
Query: what is a sentient cube?
I'm kind
You know,
of curious
I-
about this too.
Never
call my
met one
dick.
before, but he was very nice, very small, and it was very odd. But it's a
Was it something made?
no, it's an organic creature.
Are you sure it was a cube?
Well, it was absorbing mushrooms when I met him.
He does that too.
It's called eating logs.
Potato, potato. Just because we've met this really tricksy piece of excrement that likes to direct unsuspecting victims to dangerous things.
Oh, could have been that too. I wasn't really worried. But he didn't seem that threatening, all things considered.
The Maker's workshop is not a safe place for civilians. You may have been directed here in the hopes that I would kill you.
I'm glad that didn't happen. I have things to do.
He actually is very non-threatening until he feels you're a threat. So
We saw another infantry unit in action, and he was quite a fearsome warrior. He unfortunately did not survive that encounter.
Not by our own.
Yeah.
I will say it is.
Terrazine
Not
protocol is
directly.
activated.
Yeah, and not by us.
You're familiar with terrazine protocol. You know that there is a crystal called terrazine that spreads as soon as it makes contact with another physical material. Unless it is of its own constituent material, meaning like terrazine that contacts spent terrazine which has all but everything but all of its magic expended or power expended won't spread. So only spent terrazine can contain terrazine, but it's a crystal that when it comes into contact, just spreads. It also is known to have a very strong catalytic arcane reaction, meaning that it is used to enhance magic, catalyst components for magic, that kind of thing, but it's very dangerous to handle. In fact, you should not handle it. When Terrazine Protocol is engaged, especially for you, that means that Terrazine has interacted with either organic or inorganic material around you and has begun to spread in a wildfire rapid manner. And it is you, above all else, your first protocol is to do absolutely anything you can to slow or stop the spread of the terrazine, because it can easily wipe out a whole town by spreading.
Has the protocol been stopped?
Yes.
Yes, we were able to burn out the small seed, but not before it consumed half of Infantry 9's chassis.
Is that why there are no other makers? Did the protocol kill them?
No, the war has just been over for so long that there's no longer a need for makers.
Not very many makers. I mean, you're
I'm sure-
here, you know. It's,
I'm sure Thumor back in the capital, there are still makers, but this far outside of the core of our lands, there's no longer wars to be fought.
Yeah, you, Argus and Gizmo, you have both seen other Warforged before. Granted, they have absolutely been repurposed for completely different means.
Sure.
They often don't look like as
Modernized,
fresh and new.
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've been modernized with certain things. They're not as up to snuff and like ready for action as he is. Like people have tried to change certain things, and which just causes their constituent materials to like fall apart and be rickety and raggedy. And because Warforged were meant to do one thing: fight in the wars, protect people, and most of them perished during that. And so they only lived for maybe a year at best because they were constantly in battle at war. The ones that survived were just be like, oh, I guess we don't need to make any more Warforged because the war is over. So every once in a while one does show up, but
To modern knowledge, only 3 conclaves of elves still exist, correct?
4 families of elves.
The far north, the far
Oh, I thought you were talking about the oligarchy.
southwest, the peninsula. Right, the
Right.
elves have pretty much been pushed to the coast.
As far as you know, the last bastion of the like elves proper is in Sarnla,
Yeah.
where the Lithuanian Confederacy holds the seat of power. The 4 oligarchic families. Has anybody rolled history checks on this before? Someone did.
I did, and Eleazar did.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead and roll another history check to see if this jogs any memory.
Great, just the thing that I'm good at.
Because you have been the closest to the Lithuanian Confederacy
Yeah.
in your travels, because that's where you studied. Oops.
Need to get around me. You're fine.
Sorry, guys. We'll figure out a better orientation here. 4.
4.
You know that there are 4 families in the and the Lithuanian Confederacy that pretty much run everything. You don't know much more than that.
Revik, we are currently traveling to Thulmorbed, chasing down a rogue elven terrorist. If you wish to travel with us, we can deliver you to a maker. If that would settle your protocols.
The information being provided does not reconcile.
Back to the capital of the current Dwarven and Gnomish lands,
Thulmorbed.
Thulmorbed.
That does. You know Thulmorbed as being the capital of the Razorfang Agreement, the seat of power. That's where the Triumvirate holds court. So,
If any
do
proper
with that
makers,
information with what you will.
if any proper makers still exist, that's where you will find them.
Are you not a proper maker?
Journeyman,
Some of the things he makes explode.
I will hold out.
I'm glad that you did not make me.
I will hold out. I'll point at Conk, my construct. This is as far as I've gotten personally.
No, he doesn't explode.
I'm sure that it is adequate
I am
for some things.
fully licensed by the Triumvirate, but I've somewhat decided to walk my own path and become self-taught for the last year or so. Willow, we did meet one of your fellow monk of your order, I believe,
Really? We're-
in Karadim. Their name was Yudish.
Roll a history check for me. See if
Yiddish?
that's Yudish.
Yudish.
That rings a bell. Granted, you didn't know like everybody at the temple, so
19.
19. Oh yeah, you heard of Yudish. You didn't really another tiefling.
Yeah.
Didn't really spend a lot of time with them. Last time you actually had a conversation with them was when you probably showed them the book.
I know of the name. I could recognize the individual, but there are quite a few of us. We've
Fair
all
enough.
been sent out, so it's not a surprise.
Do you know the leader?
Another history check.
The leader?
Devleader.
Oh, Depleter. That's a 5.
5.
No.
I'll disguise myself as him, so you see was he shorter?
Roll again. He was about even keel with you. He was,
So like, because I'm
I know you're tall, like right, but he was a human, so he's not that tall. But yeah, he's a big dude.
so yeah, so I'll make myself a more his height, but like a bald, tattooed man.
Not at all.
Okay, I go back to Rick Moranis.
Granted, he was in there for you for a long time.
Right.
But I mean, that's possible. We'll see.
So, what are you traveling by yourself? Are you okay by yourself, or?
I'm actually just looking for information, so research.
I can get on
On-
with that.
Anything specific?
Anything on the Primordials?
I mean, we could always introduce you to the cult of Poopty.
That's a long story. I mean, it's for another day, I think, for sure.
Is Paige even gonna?
In Primordial,
Poopty now?
I'll be like, so how much do you know?
You don't understand what he's saying. He says it sounds like a fire crackling in the corner. He sounds like the sounds of a campfire.
She just cocks her head at you.
So apparently you don't speak Primordial.
No, I don't.
Therein lies the rub now.
I think you guys have given us your names. We have been. Apologies for being reticent with offering ours. I am Trisheni. These are our compatriots. We are the Argent Flame, if you will. I don't know if you want to all introduce yourselves, but just you at least introduced yourselves. So.
My name is Cole. Nice to meet you. I'm a bard of the College of Tulare, so I love to do research.
Willow, roll a history check for me on that. You can roll that with advantage because of just the relationship. You can roll it twice because it's with advantage. And take the higher number.
17.
17. You're familiar with this. What the Bardic College is. I believe I mentioned this before. It's a sect of people that the university is there that teaches bards, and their mission statement is to log the history in the factual fashion, but also make it a little bit interesting, but make sure that it's logged for all time. It's more of a recent thing within the past couple centuries, but you are aware with the most important thing that you need to be aware of because of your order's penchant for traveling the world is that those who have been ordained and studied study in the Bardic College and that travel the world have something called Bardic immunity. They have a little beam that shows them that they have the right of Bardic immunity and allows them access to behind certain closed doors. Think of it as diplomatic immunity, that type of thing. But it only goes so far. It doesn't work all the time. If the king says no, I'm not letting you into fucking chambers, then you're not allowed in the fucking chambers. But you recognize that, and you're like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah, I know who you are. You're like, and you're kind of like, there's a little bit of a kinship there because you have the same respect. The public views you with the same respect because of your order, as you don't mess with the Order of the Open Hoof, and they're good people and they protect people. Same thing with those who have bardic immunity. They most of the time they don't get involved, and they're just to chronicle things. But they of course have the right to defend themselves, and if they decide to attach themselves to a contingent, that's fine too.
I would love to have conversations with you.
More than welcome to. It sounds like you've got a lot of research that I could use.
So I'm Argus Firebeard. I'm a cleric.
You gotta. That's your promise.
Of Kosuth. Do you know of Kosuth?
Roll a history check at disadvantage on this one.
You promised not to hide it anymore.
I did promise not to hide it anymore. Disadvantage is rolling twice and
Taking the lowest.
Oh, okay. That's a 7.
Nope.
Roll that.
He is one of the primordial gods of fire. The primordial god of fire.
Right.
No, I mean, it makes sense that it would be disadvantaged because he's purposely
Hidden.
Yeah.
Right. I do have some other research on primordials. But it's in primordial.
That's quite right. Would you mind translating for me?
yes.
We'll see where that goes.
Right, but I'm Log. I'm definitely not a bugbear. Log.
Nope.
Shh. What? Oh, right. No, I mean I am. No, I'm. I'm
You're a
Log.
shapeshifter.
And yeah, you met Giz Boots.
Giz boots.
His boots.
A wave.
And a monkey.
The monkey's name is Safka.
Also a shape.
Theo, please roleplay your monkey.
Sopka's still playing with rats as a monkey.
Fantastic. What type of monkey?
Little rat
is-
circus.
like,
uh,
like,
Go
What
ahead.
species?
Go ahead,
I
Kevin.
guess like a kind of like one of, you know those like big white monkeys with the red face.
Macaques.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what Sopka is.
Yeah, they go in the hot springs, in the hot
Yeah.
tub. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Macaques are permeating every campaign that I run.
Macaques are great. They're great.
That's why I just started losing it there when he said
Literally
that.
watching Hit Monkey last night too. With
Yeah,
the
we
macaque
were.
that's like a hitman with
Yeah.
guns, and oh my god, I love that show.
Well, there's nothing else up here. We should probably get back on the road.
Right.
Do you mind if I travel with you for a little while? I would love to speak with you and trade information.
Not at all.
Yeah, no problem.
Wonderful.
Gizmo, you are more than the rest of the groups. Have a little bit more of insight into the Order of the Open Hoof. They're decently good people. They mostly keep to themselves. You know that they go on pilgrimage every once in a while. You also know you don't fuck with the Order of the Open Hoof.
Right.
Just because if there is word that one of their order has been harmed, the entire order will, very like mafia style, will come. They prefer nonviolence, but they will
Sure.
do that if they need to.
Oh, yeah.
So you seeing her possibly being traveling alone under here in a dangerous thing, no, your immediate thought is, shit, she can handle herself. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we always welcome another fighter. As we said earlier, we're sort of tracking down an elven terrorist. Karadim is actually under quarantine at the moment. He unleashed an undead plague in the city. We are headed north to see if we can find anything else out about him.
You said you're headed north?
To Thulmor Bed.
Wonderful.
Revik, when he says undead plague, there is a think of it like a hidden folder in your database that opens up, and like a new protocol is not enacted but recognizes and observed by you of
Like an update.
like an update. Yeah, like a firmware push. That says it's more of just it's just for you. It pretty much says it appears to be like one of the hidden objectives that you were created to figure out is find the source of Undead Scourge. It's very, very, very general. It doesn't say what you're going to do with it. It's not your primary objective. It is a side objective that appears. Think of like Black Op objective, as it were. But it's like old.
Right. Maker,
Yep.
I do not require to be taken to the gnomes and the dwarves. I will accompany you.
Acknowledged. Again, we always appreciate an extra sword at our side,
I don't use a sword.
I didn't see one.
or whichever weapon you favor.
Just Danny picks up this big, vicious-looking warhammer.
Nice.
Nice.
I do.
Attached to your
You-
back, and like the magnets like pop off, and you pull it out.
Your original maker was a dwarf, wasn't he?
No,
Really? With that hammer?
the weapon is dwarvish forged, but I was made by a gnome.
Nice.
You just see Arya's eyes go wide staring at this hammer.
I'm just imagining Zemdak doing a little happy dance after hearing that too.
Just to reiterate, not all elves are foes. Only this one elf is a foe.
Does not
Directive
compute.
test failed.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, does not compute.
Does your directive
Change back.
differentiate between half elf and full elf?
No.
Falco
Again,
just wears one of those beanies the whole time. It's like, I'm a human.
You just turn into a hipster for the rest of the campaign.
perfect. It is also the year 1016. If just
I tried that. He's got a little bit of wonkiness going on when he goes that far back. So.
right, but at least now,
So yeah, so you can update your records.
yeah.
Point of order: you can install new memories and new information. It's just the old time data is corrupted.
Today is currently the 6th of Hylock.
Did you find any information here to indicate why I was never deployed?
Nope. Currently, this workshop seems to only contain you. Did the Gelatinous Cube give you any additional information about this place?
The Gelatinous Cube referred to the shaft as the Clangy Tunnel.
So no.
Yes.
It is quite a climb down a chain rope. Like 300 feet? 400 feet?
300 feet. 300 feet shaft. Yeah.
That was the only way down
It's
our
5 foot in diameter, so like this, it's not an issue
Tight,
for any of
but
you
yeah.
guys to get through as far as size. It's just it's a climb.
Was that the only entrance into this workshop?
Yeah, it appears as you noticed with your investigation check. There's no other entrance into it. However, you did notice that parts of the wall seem to be a collapse, so there might have been at some point, but no longer.
Could have just been side rooms or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my apologies. How tall are Willow and Revik?
That's a good question. What did you say? Like,
I said anywhere
7 or
between
8
7 to 9 feet. You can be
Okay.
however tall you want to be. That's your character
I
decision.
think in my character description I went way under that, so we'll
If you
say
wanna be short-
7 is fine.
Okay, 7 foot. Great. So you're about like a lot.
Like 5 inches taller.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean,
Willow's
you're still
five.
big and imposing.
5'8".
You are
Yeah,
no
we'll just
longer
have to
the
update that
tallest
for the
person
part
in the group log.
description then.
That's
Sure.
Well, no,
right.
because he's 7
Let me
foot,
look
so
at. Let me
I'm
look.
5.
Oh, okay. I thought
So
I
I'm
heard
still-
5 inches taller, not shorter. Sorry.
I'm 5 tall. Plus I do mine with Sky Self. So right now I'm actually probably looking a little bit shorter.
I mean, you have complete agency with that, so if you want to be short, you can be short.
I'm fine with whatever the average is.
Okay.
I don't need to be the tallest guy in the room.
Log
I
does.
live that in my normal life.
Yeah, Revik, it may be a squeeze to get you back down, but you should fit.
I mean, if he wants to, if you guys want to go down first, I can always. I'm not planning on climbing down. My luck with ropes, especially going down, is not good. So if you guys want to go down first, you can always jump down with me, and we can float down to the ground.
Sure. There's only so many people that we can do that with, though. Yes.
Up to 5, I believe.
Right. So some of us will have to climb. I'm not sure that Sofka,
You
the
have to-
monkey, will be fine with
monkey.
do.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can do up to 5, but
I did not prepare that spell today, so I am more than happy to be one of those that climbs down. So.
I'll go first in case anybody does slip. I can catch you.
It's a good idea. I fall often.
It happened on the way up here.
I'm good to climb down.
Okay. So then we've got 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, you
4,
are.
and then everybody else can jump down with you. Right?
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're riding Conk down, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay. So that's
Climb on my construct shoulders like a kid,
7, 6.
and he'll start
Okay.
working his way down the chain.
I mean, yeah, we only needed out of 7 of us. Yeah, we only need 2 people to climb down the rope. So
Okay.
Yeah, climbing down the rope isn't as difficult as climbing up the rope. And again, the it's not rope; it's like this
Right.
braided metal cable, and it is knotted, so it gives you advantage on everything. Just for the sake of time and for the rest of you guys don't have to roll athletic checks. A couple of you guys slip up, but those above and below you help you throughout. One of the things you do notice is that if all 8 of you are on the rope at the same time, especially Revik,
well, the
creaking
We're
and,
doing-
and
but
snapping.
the plan is only like a few people are going down the rope, and the rest of us are using Featherfall and just
Oh,
jumping
yeah.
off.
Absolutely, you can absolutely do that. Yeah, no problem. So go ahead and mark down the spell slot for that. And yes, Revik, you feel semi-weightless as you just float down this shaft. It's an odd feeling. You never felt like that before.
It's like a robot dream.
Yeah. There's an electric
That's
sheep
what.
involved.
Yeah, I was just saying. Okay.
Yay! I love nerds so much.
I would hope so.
This was. Was this as we were settling for the night,
No.
or was this?
No.
It was
we
mid-
were
just-
We were just
we
traveling
mid
through the day,
travel.
right?
Yeah.
So back out onto the tri-road proper.
Correct. Yes, you can make your way past the swerving side tunnel, make your way to the tri-road proper. Argus and Zemdak, you just from living underground for so long, understand that it's probably getting a little late.
Light-wise, what are we doing? Because Revik doesn't have dark vision, correct?
Oh, I need to check
Mm,
my
no.
limits on that too.
Yeah,
Negative.
like your form kind of like your eyes glow a little bit, but not enough to actually give off any ambient light, unfortunately.
I only have 1 spell. I mean, I could take up 2 spell slots, I
Right.
guess.
Because since you already cast it on Cole today.
I already cast it on
Yeah, but
Cold
you'd
today.
have to not be a monkey to cast it. So,
I mean, yeah, that's true. But I will drop out a monkey soon.
but then
Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
no, I'm just
Like, I only have a couple more hours of being a monkey anyway.
Point of order as far as mechanics are concerned. Revik and Warforged count as a constituent creature, humanoid, biological unit.
Okay.
Because they do have, although they are mechanical in ways, they do have biological components. As far as spells are concerned, he is not considered a construct, he is considered a humanoid.
Okay. So I could cast Dark
Absolutely.
Vision on
he
it.
can't be
Spells, healing spells actually do affect him because his musculature is made of organic, technically organic matter. So, yes. I'm sure Wizards of the Coast did that on purpose so that it wouldn't be a huge pain in the ass to do.
You
on.
have to keep
Hold
casting
on.
mending.
Give
Yeah,
me-
all the
give me
time.
Warforged
Give
every
Mending's like
minute.
10 minutes to cast.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, it would be a huge
Give
pain
me
in
a
the ass.
minute to cast mending on you. 10 rounds later,
Yeah.
you get 8 hit
Right,
points.
a minute, right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so he is, for all intents, he is like, I will refer to him often as a construct. It doesn't mean that's his actual classification.
Okay.
But yes, you know it's getting late. Or at least you can just feel it that your guys are getting a little tired. Especially from that climb all the way up there and coming all the way back down.
Look for a camping spot.
Sure. Yeah, you guys like to
Wait,
do this.
you want to
Yes, yeah.
All right.
It's a point of contention between these two who can find the best camping spot.
Oh,
28.
you 27.
Oh my god!
I was this
How many
close to
times has
casting
it been
guidance on
one away?
We
So
tied.
it
No,
was-
we tied.
Last time it
Yeah.
was
Like
one
three
away
times
for the
in a row.
first one, and then they tied for the next 3.
Yeah, you tied 3 times in a row. Oh my god.
We're always neck and neck, so
Yeah.
it's just fun.
Wow.
DM, I
Okay.
do have a question
Sure.
for you with being underground with Cole, just because of where he's from. He would be used to being without the sun, but not necessarily without being without the horizon. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, just wanted to
That's
make
up
sure.
to you. You have complete agency about.
No, yeah, I
that
just wanted to
affects you.
get your idea of if that was where, if he was far enough north for that.
I believe I flavored some of the travel as being like sometimes the triway turns and twists and moves in order to avoid like super dense rock, and sometimes it's like you don't realize it, but you're actually on like a slant or an incline, and the only way you can tell is because your ankles are like half twisted as you're walking down something. But because there's no horizon to look at, it's really hard to tell. So sometimes it feels like gravity's pulling you sideways, but it's just because there's just nothing, there's no reference point for gravity. But yeah, it's up to you how you want to affect that.
Cool. I just wanted to do a clarification with you
Sure.
real quick because I thought about that after last time.
Yeah, the
You know.
cold and the it's actually pretty warm down here because it's underground, and the mountains, as you are well aware, have blood of the mountains in them, or forge fire, which is like lava that runs through them in veins often. So it's not uncommon to encounter a lava tube every once in a while. So it's actually pretty temperate down here. But yeah, the whole lack of actual sunshine.
How warm it is. I'm kind of glad I lost all my clothing in Karadim and had to switch over to the desert clothes.
Yeah, see, it's a good
It
lifestyle.
worked out.
You know, it's good.
Yeah, being underground, the climate and the weather down here isn't really dependent upon what's going on with the atmosphere. It's more dependent upon what's going around in the neighboring subterranean and like mantles and substrate and what do you call it? The tiers of rocks. What is it called?
Strata?
Strata. Thank you. Yeah, that kind of thing. So you're okay. You guys, 27 and 28. About a second as you're taking breathing in to say there's a spot.
Yeah.
He like Zendra goes like, there's a spot.
Dang it, you got. All right, that's all right. I'll
And
get
you
it.
guys find like
Yeah.
this. It's kind of like carved in. It looks like 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 if not I don't want to say that because I don't want SpongeBob to get mad at me.
A pineapple under the sea.
I was gonna say Alaskan bullworm, but yeah, it looks like there's just like kind of this large carve out of it. It goes a little bit in, and then there's an inlet, so you can like set up the dome in an area that you wouldn't be able to see the triway from, so you have your little bit of privacy.
Yeah. So Cole does, and it takes the 10 minutes to set up the dome. He plays his song of longing and coming home, and everybody sees the snow kind of forming around and the dome forming from the snow and everything like that. Yeah.
Sprinkles form a barrier.
Exactly.
I'm going to cast a ritual spell while he does this.
Okay, what are you casting? Oh, you want to let me know after?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Is it augury?
Nope.
Okay.
Can you remind me if you casted daylight in the last time?
I
or
did
no?
not, but I cast create food and water to give you different
Thank you.
food.
It is very bland food, so
Yeah.
eventually the same thing will happen. Eating nothing but Cliff Bars is going to be
Yeah, it's,
But we
it's
still
like
not-
it's like eating MREs. It's
yeah,
not
it's
good.
not great.
Yeah.
There's still
It gets
nobody
you through.
coming by, right?
Not yet because you still haven't passed the point of
Right.
where
Midnight. Any of the turn-offs.
where
are-
fair spec would be.
yeah.
And pretty much nobody would be going this far south unless they were going to Karadim or mining here.
Yeah.
You know. Granted, you are approaching the area that does trail off into the eastern area of a large ravine that goes into a massive underwater basin or underground basin.
Okay.
But that's still yet to be ahead. You reach that like just a day or two before you reach fair spec. as far as because both of you have traveled this road before.
Jenny, are you doing okay with all this?
I'm starting to miss the light a little bit, but yeah.
So I can either cast daylight somewhere or try to contact your father.
It is nice and shiny inside of the dome, just so you know.
I know, but it
it's
isn't.
not daylit.
It's
I
not.
know.
It's not
No,
the sun.
It's more like campfire light.
It's very comfy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cozy.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, having 8 of you in this dome, it like once that happens, it's cramped. I believe it says up to like 9.
Up
right?
to 9, so we're not at the limit yet.
Yeah, but
that's
it's still-
one of the things I had to
He's
check real quick. I was
big
like,
fucker. So like
Yeah.
it's
no, I had to do a count real quick because I was like, wait, there's a limit on this. How many is it?
Yeah.
Speaking of weight, you're on the tail end of your.
No. I'll just drop it and then quickly cover my ears and walk back, and like kind of just like
Right.
slink away into the corner.
When the spell drops, Revik turns his head and looks at you, but he is just sort of standing there impassively. He doesn't swing his hammer around or anything.
Okay, Sofka's still kind of freaked out, so she's gonna kind of hide behind someone.
You change shape back
Yeah,
into it.
I'm
Okay. So point of order, your protocol definitely recognizes. Or are you trying to hide it?
I'm trying to hide. I kind of like change shape behind someone.
Oh, I understand. You're a monkey, and you quickly, and then you do it again.
No, I was thinking of just changing shape, like popping up and then just kind of chilling behind log or something.
Okay. Are you trying to hide your ears at all?
Maybe. Yeah.
How do you hide your ears?
I just put a hood on, like I hood my cloak.
Okay, cool. Here's what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you roll just a kind of a flavored stealth check. Your Farkle card is being bent.
Okay.
Sorry, that was just OCP
So,
me.
so a stealth check.
Yeah, just go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Ooh, that's bad. 7.
7. You think you're good. You see immediately pointed ears, long, elven heritage. It's up to you what you want to do
Are
here.
we at camp right now?
You are at camp. You also are aware that you don't have to sleep, really. You just have to
Yes,
be in an
correct.
inactive state for like about 6 hours.
Right. So I turn and look at you.
Me? Or no, no.
Sofka.
Sofka, yeah.
Sofka.
Sofka's gonna kind of look around and be like,
Potential threat identified.
No.
No.
right.
Dear.
Threat
No.
assessment
She's okay.
low.
Oh, shade! So much shade!
Sofka's gonna
No,
look,
that was great.
Sofka's gonna kind of be like, okay.
That makes sense.
Fair enough.
Well, you're not
Yeah.
armed. You're not. You know what I mean. You're not
Yeah.
brandishing a weapon.
Yeah, they look pretty like downtrodden too. They look they've been like living off of like street trash for a while.
Yeah. She's gonna kind of like, just still kind of like slink to the side.
I'll stand in front of you actually, because I know that I'm a protected species.
Point of order, Revik, please roll a perception check at advantage.
Okay.
Oh, great.
You're still wearing the banner as a cape, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
Did you change the? Did you ever change it,
I don't.
or is it
like,
still have
So
that
I think once you
original?
tuned to it, I thought you could.
Yeah, but she didn't.
I did not.
Still the original crest.
Oh, okay.
Advantage.
means you roll twice and take
Oh,
it.
right. And take the higher too. I forgot. Oh, well, that didn't help me. 14.
14. Yeah, you see the banner, and on the banner, that they're wearing as a cape is a cog with a blacksmith hammer within it, which you recognize is the symbol of like the crafters of the triumvirate.
I'm sorry. Who is wearing this?
Sofka is as a cape is wearing like a battle standard that has like been pulled off the standard and worn as a cloak. That has like the symbol of a cog with a blacksmith's hammer in front of it, which you recognize as the symbol of like
It's on
the
my box.
yeah, exactly, which is like the symbol of the makers of the triumvirate that created their like who you're akin to or like who created you, and you specifically recognize this as the battle standard of a captain, somebody who would command you into battle, and this person with elven heritage is wearing the battle standard of a wolf.
Yeah, it's like an article of clothing.
Right.
Oh, great.
Great.
Shapeshifter, remember shapeshifter. This might not be their actual form, that's all.
I go into a wolf form.
You see the. Were you a bugbear at one point, or do you,
I would have kept refreshing
Sure.
this guy self as Rick Moranis every hour.
every once in a while you just hear a titty slap as he refreshes his disguised self because you can do it as your invocation.
Yeah, just whenever I want.
You just like every once in a while you just and it just echoes down the crowd. But yes, you see Rick Moranis just transform into like an auburn-colored wolf, just with bone cracking and everything.
Neat. Which makes more noise.
Sofka's like low-key hyperventilating.
He just sits there, motionless,
Yeah.
staring at you.
I assume you probably have your grip on your hammer just in case, or maybe not.
It's not
It's up to you.
necessary.
Okay. Oh, that's almost worse.
Hey, if you want, I can turn into a big old bear. So
Are you taking that shape in order to antagonize me?
no. No.
Revik reiterating, shapeshifters are not enemies at the moment.
These two.
You did specify these two.
These two.
That is why
Current-
I haven't attacked.
Current allies. Good.
Is this an elf?
He has elven blood.
She.
She has elven blood
She.
in their heritage.
Is she a prisoner?
No, not currently.
Comrade.
You are allies with an elf.
Currently.
Much has changed.
I'm just in the corner licking myself.
We
Did you go back to the wolf form?
Yeah.
Okay.
we can't
Or
all
were
be
you over there,
blamed
Rick
for
Moranis?
heritage we have nothing to do with.
I
Just ask the wolf. He'll totally agree with that one.
The wolf is busy at the moment.
He can still answer you.
I've
I just
never.
look up.
What?
Huh? I don't know my parents. I never met an elf. Or well, I met one elf.
Check.
Yeah, rope.
I guess I met
There-
one elf, but I've never met my family. I've only lived with dwarves and humans.
Additional data point. There is a free elf living in Caradine.
Friend.
Protector of young dwarves and gnomes.
Why are you wearing a commander's battle standard as a garment?
It is what the people who killed my family wore. My friends wore. I think.
No,
It's not. It's not.
you found that's what Pensky and
Yeah, but I thought.
Throt.
Am I still like thinking that it's like connected to how?
I mean, it's crimson, it's red, but it
I
doesn't.
know.
That's up to you, man.
Yeah.
It was a found object, yes? So
Yes.
not something that you would take it
I
off.
found it in trash.
We found it in a rat's nest.
Many years have passed.
It obviously has power and meaning, so we rescued it from where it was, but it was not taken from anyone.
It is a commander's battle standard.
Do you know the specific troop it belongs to? We were not able to discern
Does
that.
the standard have markings that...
Other than the cog and the hammer,
Okay.
no.
No,
It just
it is...
Captain
It's
standard
not
of-
designated as being part of any particular legion.
it just marks either a warforged or someone who commands warforged that would be a captain in battle. And it does have like rallying abilities, pretty much.
Interesting. Willow, are you done with that schematic?
Oh yeah, I have been for a time here.
Yeah. I'm gonna pour over that as I sort of
Rick,
make
your dome pops up. A little Argus.
I have an hour to do whatever I want to do with it.
It takes an hour to ritually cast
No,
the spell?
I can then use it for an hour.
He's gonna wait until we fall asleep.
Doing this to me. I love your shirt, Lance, by the way. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's such a great movie.
I have a question for you. Are you using flame in your ritual?
I mean, of course.
As you
I
do.
mean, yeah, as you do.
You can't not cast a ritual spell without flame.
Well, at least not Argus can't. Anyway.
When he first does it, because I'm continuing the prank war,
This will be fun.
I was
I'm
take a
going
day off.
to use prestidigitation to snuff it out when he first lights it.
Okay, so about like 5 minutes into your ritual, your flame stops and you get
Okay.
your ritual gets interrupted.
I'll remember that.
You can do it again.
I will.
This is a ritual spell.
Yeah.
Cole realized you were the instigator last
Well,
time of all the prank wars.
you had to stop your ritual of casting the dome to do that.
You did. You were like, is it worth it? Yeah. It's so petty.
Okay. After my thing's done. I'll be like, good job, Cole. I'll give you a high five. I cast Feign Death on him.
You got an unwilling creature?
He's willing. He gave me a high five.
That doesn't make me a willing
I
creature.
don't know. All right, here's the deal. Do me a favor, because this is some shenanigans. Roll a wisdom saving throw. If you roll below his DC, I'll say that it happens to you.
I just gotta
Because
check
it
my-
was like that was like willingness under false pretenses, but sure.
Dirty 20.
Okay, so you feel him cast a spell, but it doesn't affect him. No.
And then I put up my. I just give him a smile and I put up my dome right
Oh,
afterwards.
you cast the spell.
Yeah.
You just use. Do you designate him as someone that can't enter the dome?
I wouldn't have done it until after he was done with the dome.
No, yeah, it's already up.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking like after I.
Oh, that would.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He still would have been able to concentrate on the dome. Would have been fine.
I mean, you need time to sit down and set up your ritual and chant and do whatever it is. Sometimes you can have light conversation, but it's difficult. It's more like I lost my spot. I have to start over, kind of thing. It's like when you're like, hold on, I have to add these numbers. Yeah, what do you need? And then if you like remember your spot, you're like, oh yeah, I was at 1,422, and you answer the question, then you get back to that thing. That's the kind of stuff you have to do. Great. So, after the prank, you're not gonna tell me what it is that's gonna happen, or are we just gonna?
Feign Death is what I was casting.
And it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Oh, that's the ritual you were casting. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
I wasn't gonna.
But you expended the spell slot to do that,
It
or
was a
No.
ritual spell. You
I
cast
know.
it and you have an
you
hour
got
to
interrupted,
actually
but you
use
just did it again. Okay. Y'all are fighting with ritual spells. It gets really complicated.
They were both doing rituals. At the
I
same
know.
time.
You'd be like, I'll get my 10 minutes done before you get your 10 minutes done.
I didn't want him to
I
lose
could
the
always
spell.
just cast it. I mean, it takes less
Both
time for me
of
to
you
cast
can,
it as a
yeah.
ritual spell.
Yeah, you guys are funny.
I'm just messing with stuff.
You're just trying to be like, yeah, because Feign Death just puts you in an is it unconscious or
It
incapacitated?
puts you like you're looking like you're
Like you're
unconscious,
dead.
but you're like you're dead. But
Right.
you have immune resistance to all damage
yeah,
and
right.
all this
Can
stuff.
still get dick face though.
Yes.
Point of order.
Yes, that was my objective.
Did we get a full day's worth of
So-
traveling?
Not as much. The whole.
Detour.
Well, yes. No. Yeah, you do, as far as mechanics are concerned, yes, you get a full day's worth.
So,
Okay.
Happen
Shani,
near
do you
the
want
tail
me
end
to
of the
try to send, or do you need daylight?
Which means you have
I
how many days left?
think it'd
6.5.
probably be a better idea to for me to see this on a little bit. I'm starting to feel a little anxious about that. Yeah. Sorry.
Can we? How are we gonna do this? Because I don't want it to like. It's gonna show throughout the whole cave.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Cole, but if it's inside your dome, could that kind of keep it contained?
Yeah, if it's inside the dome, it'll keep it contained. But when
What
the dome
spell?
disappears,
Daylight.
Yes. Yeah.
because magical effects cannot go outside the dome.
That's correct. They can't cross the threshold either way.
Perhaps that's a good way.
I'll cast daylight for you inside the dome.
I really, really appreciate
Is
it.
that a third level spell?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you have this little like miniature sun.
And I like bask in it and just kind of like just breathe and just
Yeah, you like close your eyes and you imagine your feet are in the sand.
yeah. Because this is the third day that I would have been without sunshine.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm okay because because the help of my friends.
Noelle and I fleshed out some like PTSD madness rules since last week because of her history.
Yeah.
So we like figured out a bunch of triggers as to what would do it. And, cool.
Just for
anything
while we're
else?
underground, guys.
All right, I have one more spell. Since I did this for Trusheni, do you want me to use sending on your father?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you again for
Right, your
being
father
so
has like a slight Irish
helpful
accent,
with
right?
everybody. Really appreciate
Yeah.
I
it.
think that's what we gave him. Yeah.
And he doesn't talk too much.
No.
I need to go back to what you told me to say.
We tried this last night. Us like disguising self and trying to.
Yeah.
Right, but you don't have that spell.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He already did it last time, so I should know.
Yeah, you have a pretty good idea.
I'll do it again just to refresh
Sure.
your memory because you failed last night.
Yeah.
I think I've rolled a 2 for that one. So.
In real life? Or?
Look at that.
I was just gonna...
It's in here somewhere.
Did it in the players only.
I got it.
Okay.
I was just trying to find where it was. I don't remember what roll I'm doing, TJ. Am I doing a wisdom throw or am I just doing a
I
luck
do
check?
the roll for you as far as
Okay.
whether it goes through or not.
Okay.
I already did it.
Okay. Did it go through or did it not go through?
You're going to find out. You won't know until you actually cast the spell and send the message.
Alright. I cast a spell and sent the message.
What does it say?
Argent, I am a friend of Zemdex. He is well. Family may be in danger. Be extra suspicious. Coming to visit soon.
What? Oh. Arnie, what you put in the tea? I think our son is coming to visit. I got a feeling. Ooh, eat down in me bones. We're good. Now I'm scared. That's all you hear.
He said he's good, but now he's scared. But they know we're coming.
As long as he's aware, he can be incredibly suspicious when he needs to be. Plus, there's not
now
that,
he's for sure suspicious.
there's not that many people that come down to the deep mines that often. So, as long as he's on the lookout for somebody new, he should be able to keep the family relatively safe.
Okay.
Plus, gnomes are good at hiding.
So Willow, what do you know about the Primordials?
Not nearly enough. I was wondering, and I pull out a piece of parchment and hand it to you. Do you see anything written on this?
TJ? There's nothing. No, I don't see anything. Was there?
Yes. And you, sir?
Do I? Nothing.
Well, thank you. Annoying.
Did it disappear or something? Or did it disappear or something? The writing on it?
No, I'm just the only one who can read it or see it. So I'm trying to find someone else who can. I don't know the language.
Let me, you
That's
know what?
fascinating.
Give me about 10 minutes. Let me argue with the universe for a bit, and then maybe I can try to.
Really? I wanted to ask, you've been traveling. Have you met anyone of my order, a gentleman, half-orc,
No.
in your travels?
I haven't.
I have no.
God, can you imagine the odds?
That's random.
She
Depends
looks-
on what the DM does.
She looks a little sad, but then her face goes back to its normal expression.
Is there any certain primordials that you're doing research into? What?
I was
Just
told,
in general?
I was
Or-
told to find out information on the primordials and don't come back until I do.
So, do you know, like, Pita? Do you know any of the... None of the names?
I
Nothing?
mean, you don't speak primordial, so those
No.
don't mean anything to you.
Okay.
I show her the book we got you?
Yeah, I'll get the book out of the bag of holding.
Okay. You ask Zemdak for the bag
Yeah.
of holding. You
Well,
give the bag of holding.
technically, I never give it back. No.
Zemdak gives you the bag of holding.
No. I'll ask Zemdak for my primordial book.
Oh yeah, the Book of Kosu. We had to be very Pita. We had to be very delicate.
Very, very careful with that thing. Like you have to grab it with two hands like a sandwich, and like.
I mended it, so we were able to actually do it without
We
destroying it
reinforced it a
anymore.
little bit, but
Yeah.
it's still
an
Very.
old book.
Yeah.
So I'll carefully pull it out.
Yeah. You see something similar. This text is bound with two slab pieces of stone on either side, or some type of stone, very similar to what you very like.
Very
it harkens
similar,
back.
yeah.
And there's like no binding between it, and the parchment is really, really old vellum.
Okay, her eyes get very wide and her tail starts to twitch. And she's like, may I?
Sure. Let me know if you want me to read any of it.
Just very, very careful, please.
Definitely. So I open it up. Does this look like the same language?
Again, because you don't speak the language, it's
No.
hard to tell. But with his aid, yeah,
Well, but
it is not
what
something
I-
you can read.
No, but what I copied down on my parchments, does this
Very
language
similar
look-
to the same characters, correct? Yes. It is in Primordial. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna need to. And you see her going through and pulling out parchments. All right, so she'll start. I'm gonna write down. What is this in common? Well, I need to know the letters, please. And can you talk to me about the phonetic structure?
Of course.
Thank you. So she.
Okay, so I see where this is going. This is going to. The amount of languages you can learn is based on your intelligence.
Right.
You are currently at your max, so this is going to be really difficult. For all intents and purposes, as far as mechanics can go, you will never be fluent in Primordial. But he will. So as long as you're working with him for the sake of time, he can help translate stuff for you, and he can help transcribe. But you will never be able to fully write and read Primordial.
Seeing
That
them
is
try
fine.
to do this, I'm going to look at Trishenian log.
Is this
That,
going to be as difficult
comprehend
as
language
teaching
spell.
log
Yeah, I'm
difference
talking to
between
Pretty
Lemmy
much.
right
five
now.
and six?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Can you do that to other people?
I think it's only to myself,
No.
but
That was my question.
I mean, I can write a scroll.
I'm sure log doesn't quite know yet.
I'm just still a wolf, so I'm just listening.
Yeah, I can write a scroll you can use, but other than that, it's only for whoever actually casted it.
You could do that.
Yeah, I do have one ready. Just saying, for the future if we need it. I'm
Argus, you kind of give her the cliff notes of what this thing says.
Yeah.
You go ahead. You know what this thing says, or the information that you have discerned yet from this. Yeah, I'm not telling you. You gotta go to your notes.
That's not smart. I did not
Those are
label my
better than
notes.
mine.
No, they're not.
Well, if you need Noelle's help, she is the avid note taker. Or ask
Did we
your
roll
party
the
for
heart?
help.
Is it what day is it?
the
Did we roll for the heart this morning?
6th of Highlock.
I thought
We
No,
rolled for
we
it.
did.
We rolled for it before
Yeah, it's
we
on the
went
recording.
exploring.
It is in the
I thought I
night.
was translating what she had.
Yes.
I can
No,
write,
because you can't. There's nothing on the
can't
book.
see
It's
it.
blank.
Okay.
That's why.
You could try to write it.
Yeah, I may. I'll copy down like small, but I don't know. My copy is a copy of my abilities to copy a
Okay.
language and symbols.
Right. It's
I
a
don't
copy of
know.
a copy of
yeah,
a language that
it's-
you don't understand.
Okay.
So do me a favor and just roll a straight intelligence check for me.
All right.
We found this
Um,
in pages, please.
What?
We found it in pages, please, right?
Nat 20.
Yes.
That's one.
Nat 20!
So I got a 22.
Okay, so here's what happens, because there absolutely something intervenes. You hear the whispers again. My child, I understand your plight, but this is between us, family only. And you see the beginnings of a quill and ink start to write down on a scrap piece of paper the beginnings of a character before, as the ink dries, it's gone. So you can only see half of a letter at a time.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll an intelligence check to see if you can extrapolate any information from this.
I rolled a 2, so 3.
It just looks like, like the tail of a wedding gown. It looks like the quill has like a tail of a wedding gown that's in ink that is then being dragged with it and then disappearing.
Yeah, that's not staying on the page.
Yeah,
For you, it's staying on the page.
She bites her lip to the point that her little fang is dug deep in her bottom lip. She's like, maybe we should try this another time. But I appreciate the help, and I would love for any types of...
This is going over, like, Pita, who is the father of the stone. I worship Kosuth, who is the fire deity. We're actually traveling to my home where I learned a lot about about Kosuth. So, in that...
Mostly from your family.
Yes. We might be able to get you some more information. If I could ever find it in my notes. Do you need
I
the stuff?
have very
This is
little
why I
notes
say
written
take
down, honestly,
notes.
for-
Yeah, but then I'm not as immersed in all the greatness of your storytelling.
That's the thing. You do
Don't you dare! Don't you even dare throw that back at me.
every single fucking time you complain about my notes, I'm going to.
It also mentions
No, you
Estisha,
can do both.
which is
Find you a
the
girl
king
to
of the
do
water.
both, guys.
Manta
The king of who?
Imanta.
is the element.
Imanta is the element.
Atira is mother.
Right, you discerned that Pita was like some sort of reference to the father, which is like the old primordial, like native term for the earth, the land specifically. Whereas Tira, I believe, right? Am I wrong?
Atira.
Atira is the old primordial term, again, like the native people's land term for the water, the ocean, the sea.
Okay, so at least I get down some of the basic names, and I'll copy down the symbols that are for the names.
Right, and you
So-
can like have like an IPA, like an International Phonetic Alphabet,
Yes.
to help you. Like, yeah, when you write
That's a
that
different
stuff
thing.
down, as far as like phonetics, the rest of you can see because it's not part of the same
Right.
information. But you also like just through your passive insight realize that if you tried to write this entire book in phonetics,
It's not, yeah.
something might intervene. Like,
Well, and it also probably is the same as if I was taking Chinese characters and transcribing
Like a
Chinese
kanji.
characters into an English alphabet.
Right.
But it still doesn't mean that I know what the word is.
right, and it's also just they often reference previous characters or have a pictography meaning, so it never translates properly literally.
Right
or
now,
phonetically.
I'm out on step 2. I very much appreciate this. I've got some studying to do, but this is invaluable.
We did find a stone that was based around Pita.
Oh,
Oh
on
yeah,
our
the
truth
veneer.
that had a mock standard or
A blue.
blue
sash.
was
a
a ribbon?
sash.
Yeah, sash around it.
There's a sash of the Order of the Open Hoof around it. Yeah.
But we didn't recognize that it was the order of the open hoof.
He did.
You did? Okay.
really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have it? Can I see
It
it?
was on the travel. We didn't take it.
Oh, yeah,
I wasn't letting them
It seemed-
They viewed it as like
It seemed purposeful.
disrespectful. Not
We didn't want to
Okay,
disturb.
I unroll a map. I'm like, can you show me where it is?
You have a map?
You don't have a map.
I don't have a map.
You don't have a map. No, you don't have a map.
Cartography.
Right. You're a cartographer, but you haven't traveled the world yet.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Can you?
Map, it just sucks.
Yeah. He's like, this is
It's like your house.
I mean, she,
like, this is the first floor. This is the second floor.
she could have a map of
We'll,
where
we'll
she's
pull up
been.
one of our maps.
Sure.
Can you show me, or tell me the region
It
that
was
you
in-
found the stone?
It's
Was it a
it's
part
that
of the-
it's that smaller
It's the
map.
old
over-
map, yeah,
the
yeah.
lower map over
Right
there.
about
We
that.
pulled that map out for her because we
Okay.
did
Sure,
we
sure.
did get that
This
map.
old map that's most likely very out of date. But
Okay,
it,
I'll
of
copy
the
it.
continent. Yeah, you'll
Well,
need
no, we-
you'll need
No, is it
a
that one?
We
couple
bought
hours.
that one
Yeah.
too, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah, we bought both of them,
Yeah, that one is purchased from you.
and
Right.
that one is
That's
more
a
up to
nice
date.
one. Yeah, but this one is of the entire continent. That's only of a certain
Yeah.
region.
Yeah, but it was in that region.
It
wasn't
was
It
in that
was in
region.
this
That's why
region.
we're saying that
Yes.
would be the map we would
Yes,
pull
it
out.
was
Yeah.
around
So he's
between the like between the Quinta Silva and the Fothid ruins around this area
Mm-hmm.
as you were moving. So yeah, they kind of give you an idea that this is around here somewhere.
Okay.
Um, go ahead and roll a history check for me.
All right. Yeah, she's sitting on the ground with a bunch of paper and quills.
This
and-
might take several days to copy because this is a very, very, very detailed map.
Oh, I'm not letting them out of my sight till I get all of this.
Okay, are you foregoing your sleep this evening?
No.
Okay.
no.
If you're a cartographer, I'll hand you our whole stack of maps.
Okay. And I'm rolling, you said history?
Yes.
20.
20. You are aware that sometimes the Order will stop at certain ritual sites along their pilgrimage and give thanks or gratuity, and that sounds that kind of tracks with what you're hearing from them. As far as the mention of Pita and like a Menhir, that you don't know of.
Right, so-
But you're innards to like, well, that if Pita is primordial, and that someone is doing something with Pita, it makes sense that I was sent to go find out primordial information because there's some sort of tie that inexorably links the Order with the primordials.
And well, I don't really have a starting place, so this is always as good as any.
I walk back at this point. I'd stuff this stuffed lamb back into like my pouch. The lamb seemed to be holding like this little book at the point in time. It's weird. Okay, I can try reading that piece of paper now if I possibly.
please.
Possibly.
All right, so I hand you the same scroll that he saw as blank.
Is it still blank for me with comprehend languages going?
Very, very interesting that you should ask. So, do me a favor and roll an intelligence saving throw.
Okay.
Oh God, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Adds to the fun.
Yeah, not great. That's 10. Thank God that I had, or thank the gods that I had high save to that.
You hear a voice creep into your mind as ink bleeds onto the page, and you start to see a few things, but like it's struggling, like it's going, like it's being forced out, but forced onto the page, but then pulled out, as if there was one location that the ink is bleeding from, but then being pulled back, as almost it's getting pulled off the page, and you hear a voice creep into your mind that's just like, interloper, and you get shunted backward and flown 10 feet across the room.
I've never had paper do that.
I am very, very sorry. And I run over to help her and pick up
Yeah.
my scroll at the same time.
It's fine. It just I heard a voice saying I'm an interloper. I'm like whatever, but it just it seemed to be coming in and out of existence. You know, like if you it's
do, point of order, you do catch a word here or there from how your magic was struggling against whatever magic this is. That's putting this together. You catch things like shaman,
okay.
Ritual,
Okay.
nature, element.
So since I'm a wolf right now, I can only communicate telepathically. And so to Trisheni, I'll say,
Should I try my book trick like we did with the fetish?
You know, it couldn't hurt. I feel like that was something that I couldn't fully comprehend, which is weird because I feel like I can always read what's going on with this.
Well,
so.
you weren't able to read his language.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
Yeah,
like
but
this
Eldritch
is the,
text,
but
yeah.
I could.
yeah,
but that's the thing. You can understand it, but you can't like read it. If that makes sense.
Right.
Like you couldn't write it down.
But I could try doing the same thing with this
As far
piece
as
of
we know,
paper.
it could be a
Yeah.
You just innately understand the gist of what it's trying to tell you.
Right.
It's not like you being sounding out characters and putting the phonetics together and that whole thing. It's just you saying, "Oh, that's what that says," and you
Yeah.
don't understand why you understand it. You just do it.
Right.
it's like you know the phrase, right? But then it's
Yeah.
like, but you just
So I would try to do the same thing like I did with the fetish with my book. Since I'm not doing comprehend languages.
You guys are so interesting. Okay, cool. Cool.
I do tell
So
you the
you-
words.
So first I'd have to transform out of my wolf form in order to be able to do it.
Cool.
Oh wait, doesn't that mean that he sees him as a bugbear?
It would.
It would. Do you do so?
Yeah, if everyone try and read this.
Okay, you see this wolf transform and there's Goblin King Bugbear. Just for your background information, your protocol just doesn't really view them as much of a threat as much as just that they're possible enemy combatants, but they've just been put into your thing and be like, hey, these are possible raiders, but otherwise your more considerate focus should be on elves. So as long as they're not actively involved in the combat, they're on the back burner.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about Rick Moranis than I am bugbears.
For good measure.
As it should be.
So I'm fully transformed, then from my arm, it just opens up, and a book comes out from it. It's all
Fleshy.
yeah, fleshy and like teeth and
Ew.
An eye opens up on one side that moves to the binding and blinks at you.
May I see the paper?
If you let me see that later, and I hand
so I'll try and keep
The
them
book
like
growls at you.
yeah, I'm trying to like keep the book kind of down so it doesn't eat the paper. And
You see like tendrils come out like tongues, trying to latch onto the paper.
so I'm trying to dodge.
Go
that.
ahead, yeah. Go roll a grapple check with your book here. Roll a contested athletics check because this thing is always
I'm
hungry.
gonna produce flame and get close to Cole in the book.
Okay, what are you like trying to scare it away from
Yeah.
fire? With fire? Sure. Go ahead, roll with advantage.
please don't scorch my scroll.
Don't worry about it.
Oh,
Nat 20.
Nat 1.
It's a book. I mean,
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, but it is, it's got its own things. It's got like 10 more limbs than you do. But sure. Yeah, you're able to you just kind of like singe this as it's trying to grab onto this page, and you look at the words that form into it.
yeah. So I'm trying to do like I did with the fetish and like
There's a moment like I don't know if you've ever experienced like a concussion when your vision blurs, and like the RBG colors of what you see kind of like dissociate from their original corporeal like correction, where sometimes the after image in blue, some fucking strong magic attached to this fucking book that doesn't want you to read it, and that whatever your book is, whatever powers your patron in your book is giving with you is attempting to do it, but eventually your patron's like, nah, B, I'm not touching this.
You're on your own though.
yeah, so I'll hand the page.
I don't think it's going to work.
Oh, thank you for trying.
And I just go back into
Well,
open form.
the primordials have to do with like the elements, right?
Oh, completely.
Have you tried like applying heat to it?
Well,
Have you
I
tried
can,
getting it wet?
I can read it.
Blowing on it?
Well, I can see it.
Oh.
I can't read it. I don't know the language.
Oh. Perhaps can you write down what's on that paper on a separate paper, and then perhaps...
She tries it, but it's basically like asking a 5-year-old to copy something that you have written down and then copy
From a
that
copy, yeah.
from a copy
Yeah.
and then copy that again.
Right. And then, and especially I'm imagining with, like, Primordial, that, like, the slight change could completely change the
Yes,
right?
yes, because it's a very natural flowing language. So a G that's formed just like a millimeter off could be a completely different
I'm
letter.
also imagining like there's odd letters that are capitalized that really shouldn't be capitalized in the
Yeah.
middle of a word and,
And it's
stuff
the
like
characters
that.
aren't like that too. They're
They
like
don't even-
sometimes they look like flowing trees and vines and weeds, and other times they look like fire that is living, and other times they look like rocks incarnate. It's the mother language, like the precursor to all of the elemental languages, like Ignan, Aquan, Auran. What's the Earth one? Terran. So it has, just like Latin for all the Romance languages, it has roots and etymology for all of those languages. So it has parts of that all. So there's definitely elements in all that thing. It's super, super difficult to copy. This is it's like a game of telephone, where it's the game of telephone is speaking in a different language to the next person who's down the line.
Right.
So this is really, really hard shit.
I very much appreciate at least letting me and helping me with a basic translation of at least the letters. So I have work to do.
All right. Always fun to spread knowledge. Spread like fire.
Anybody else have anything else to that needs translating of anything? I mean, I'm good for the next like 55 minutes or so, probably.
Trisheni, not related.
Sure.
Is there like a childhood song, like a lullaby, something that your father sung to you?
Yes.
I have it right here. I
That's
shit you not, I
amazing.
have it written down.
I had never actually talked to him about this.
Nope, you didn't.
So
World building.
I have an idea
This is
for
the-
something that
This
could
is
help
one of the things
soothe
that
you.
makes D&D.
he always sang.
Here it is.
I mean,
It actually is like kind of like one of those grim fairy tale old
Yeah.
like ones where if you actually listen to the lyrics a little bit more, it's like a little bit like, ooh, okay, that's a little too scary for kids. But kids sing it all the time. It's
Like,
don't
are
you
we all
scream
fairy tales?
and so don't you scream and don't you shout, or it will rake and stir about. Hush now, little ones, darling fair, of your noise be most aware, or it will grab you, pull you down, for then you will most surely drown. The water spider rests in the bush. Now go to bed, you darlings.
I sing that to you.
I know that one, and I'll start tinkering on something.
It's been many years since I've heard it, but it's it's
I had written a couple just in case. 'Cause I knew.
Perfect.
but still will help. I appreciate it. And again, I am sorry that this might be an ongoing thing for quite some time, my friends. It's just I can't help when this thing happens and triggers again. I was taken under. I didn't have a choice in where I was stuck for multiple years of my life.
No, hey,
So
we totally understand. We're trying to help you out in any way that we can, I think.
okay, I also please it will help me if I can help you in any way too. So keeping busy the mind will help this too. So need anything written, translated, we can keep working on your book, that kind of thing too, as I turn the log. I'd really like to help in any way that I can, of course,
And how much more paper and ink do we have?
We've got a bit more, but we just have to figure out how we want to allocate it. If it's for your book, if it's for new things, if it's, how, or copies of my old spells into the backup so that we have that in case something God Pharaoh forbid happens to it. But yeah, we can work on it.
So you still have Identify and Detect Magic?
I do. Well, I don't have Detect Magic. That's Zemdak, but I have.
I have it too. I have a lot of ritual spells.
You would have to have it prepared for him to be able to
Like
learn it
Feign
from
Death.
you.
That could be a good one.
Yeah.
For those of you that prepare spells, you'll have to have it prepared in order to teach somebody it, for obvious reasons. But you, as a wizard, all your stuff is in your spell book, so
Right.
you can just flip to the page.
Yeah.
You guys noticed that my whole arm is all covered in burn scars, and my 2 fingers are showing bone.
3 fingers.
3 fingers. Is it 3?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. These 3 fingers are just the end caps of my bones. Just,
Normal, right?
Just
So
almost
you're
like the
aware.
tip of his hand had been melted
Fired,
off
yeah.
and then healed.
She made notes of it.
just, It's like that's something you would have obviously noticed.
Cezanne.
Especially if I'm helping you with stuff.
Yeah, no, she would have been polite enough not to say anything, but would have made notes.
If you touch my arm, I wouldn't notice.
Right, you don't have a sense of feeling from about halfway up your forearm up, but you still have all
I
of the
can still use
agency
it,
and
yeah.
articulation that is needed of it. Yeah, so it's just a little odd, but you've gotten used to it. Feels like a phantom limb, really.
That's not phantom, because you can...
Right,
Still
because it is
sweet.
physical. It's
It's still weird.
Safka, you transformed in order to cast a spell, right?
Yeah.
What did you cast?
I think I cast Dark Vision or something. No, I transformed.
Because
This
your
is time
stuff
limit.
is running out.
Time.
Time was running out.
Okay, cool. The dome is up. All you guys are doing this stuff. I'm going to say just for so that I don't set the pretense of it going forward, is that you guys still did some stuff before you went to sleep, which means the dome it will drop about like a half an hour to an hour before your sleep or your rest is completed.
Unless he'll
However,
cast it again right before he goes to sleep.
yes, I mean you could do that. That's correct. You could do that absolutely because it is a ritual spell. Revik.
At this point, I can do it without casting as a ritual too.
Right. Revik, you notice that the rest of this group of individuals appears to be getting ready to rest, and you are aware that you don't really need to do that. You
Well,
just need...
I do rest.
Yeah,
I just
it's
sit
just-
motionless.
Yeah, and the cool thing about how Warforged go into like a state of low activity, like a recharge kind of state, is that they can still be aware of their surroundings marginally. Wherever they happen to set up and sit and go into like a low stasis mode, they can still be aware of everything that's going on, and so they can still like take watch, for example.
Yep.
Granted, it's not a 360; it's more of like a peripheral 180 degree thing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool.
Hey, Revik, this is Construct Mark II. I call him Conk. If you need any help during the night, just let him know. He'll follow your directives.
So you're giving Conk the
Understood.
order to follow Revik's directives? Okay. Right, yeah, that'll work. For all,
Just-
in
yeah.
combat, it's going to be different. But
Right.
Yeah. You have to do it in combat, but yeah.
Yes.
So as everyone is laying down to sleep and people have closed their eyes and everyone looks like they're about to go to sleep
Are you going to be inside the dome or outside?
inside.
Okay.
I can see better in here.
Okay.
Revik suddenly says, I have decided I have no reason to attack the elf.
Okay. Sasha had like just closed her eyes.
I wasn't afraid.
Now I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Cole just holds up his thumb to like Safka, like
So the odd thing about you, Revik, is that yes, you can be awake and you can watch, but the dome itself doesn't give any light to its exterior.
Oh, sure.
But the interior is fine.
No, specifically mechanically, sorry.
No, I'm
Even if
just
you
double-
want to make it a
I'm just-
color, it does not give off light. It's
No, in the inside though.
in the inside it does,
Yeah.
but to its exterior, no, it does not. Meaning that you can see everything within the dome, but you can look, but all you can do is really listen. You
Yeah,
can't really see anything.
I sit where I can see all of them.
I'll also hand you these.
Okay,
like,
so you've with
two
your
little-
back to the back of the dome. You look into the dome and you're just listening outward. Got it.
I hand you
Cool.
these two clockwork orbs.
last line of the
that are
spell
about
is
that
it's
big.
opaque from the outside, it's transparent from the inside, so you can't actually see outside.
Right, but there's no light.
There
It
we go.
doesn't
Yeah,
give
that
off any
makes more
light.
sense to what you're saying. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
They emit, what is it, 10-foot light? So they're
the
like
little
mini
trinkets?
torches.
Zemdak hands you a little like orb. What does it look like?
It's like a little clockwork, just like a sphere. It's got like little ears and things. That
And it just gives off 10 feet of dim light or bright light.
It's 10 and 10, so 10 bright, 10 dim.
So yeah, it
It's like a
won't
torch.
permeate the shell because magic effects can't permeate it, but it does make the inside nice and cozy and light. But yeah, he kind of hands you that.
In case you need to see.
They last forever as long as until he wants them to stop.
Okay. In that
No.
case, then I probably leave the sphere of daylight.
You
Go
exit the dome.
Exit with my back to the cave wall or whatever,
Okay,
so that
yeah.
I can see the area.
You walk
and
a
I'll
couple
drop
feet.
those things.
Okay, how many do you give him?
2.
2. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you can like make a perimeter to give yourself, so you can see 20 feet out from your position. You like walk 10 feet away from the dome, drop these 2, and then just stand sentinel style. Enter like your the blue things that were or whatever color they were go into like a more yellow stasis mode as you start to reserve power. And you're still able to watch. You can only see 10, 20 feet. You can't quite see to the triway, but you would be an early warning system if anything tried to creep up on you guys. Also, the tunnel itself is only about like 7 feet wide, so it would have to kind of like pass your space if anything would have come to the dome. You also know that the dome can't be permeated by literally anything unless it is dispelled by things that you don't designate at times. And you are allowing Revik and Willow to come in at their own will?
Yep.
Great.
I have no reason to distrust them yet, no matter how many plans within plans.
Great. Anything else then before you guys bed down for the evening?
I cast Goodberry twice, so that, and I pass it out to everybody, so everybody has one, and then I will have just an extra allotment for the following day.
Okay.
And I do take one more minute before we officially pass out and recast Tiny Hut.
10 minutes.
No, he's gonna burn us.
I'm
you're
burning
gonna
a
burn
spell
a
slot
spell
since
slot.
we're
Okay.
going to rest.
Okay, cool.
Just
You're
refresh
right.
the time on it.
Yes, so Machete hands you these kind of like bulbous golf ball sized purple berries with little green like kind of strawberry stem on top of them. Willow, you've never seen this. Revik, you've never seen this.
I'm like,
Don't eat more than one. Bad things happen.
Yeah, just it helps you, like, you feel full for the day, you don't need water for the day, that kind of thing, but it also gives you back, like, a little bit more vitality. Just a little bit more point. So, you know, sometimes we've used it as, like, oh, say you fall down in combat, because, you know, things happen. Shove down with heart, you come back to life. So just in case.
I will save it for when it's needed then.
All right.
Thank you
Of course.
very much.
From experience, I can tell you if you eat too many, it does not feel good, and they tend to come back up.
Ooh, okay, then I will definitely
It's
wait
like
till it's
it's
needed.
like eating an entire day's worth of food at once.
It's
So
like it's
you
like
eat
eating
two.
Thanksgiving dinner and then somebody feeding you Thanksgiving dinner again.
Revik, you're handed this thing that is supposed to sustain you. You don't need to eat.
Oh, you hand me one?
Yeah.
I just stand there staring at it.
Perhaps you don't need to eat, but, like,
Give to
you
someone
could,
when they need it.
yeah, you could give it to somebody if you needed it, or if...
Do you have, like,
it could
a
work.
mandible, like
Yeah.
a thing that opens up?
Yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't.
Go anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's no place to put sustenance.
Yeah.
I would still imagine that because it's magic, maybe it still helps you mend slightly. Maybe? Am I supposing too much?
If you would have eaten it, it would give you 1 hit point,
Yeah.
as per the spell, because it is magic.
Right, and it's a
It is a healing spell,
Yeah.
so but it wouldn't give you the benefit of sustaining you because you don't need to eat or sleep or breathe.
Thank you. I will hold on to that for an emergency, such as a situation when one of you is severely injured and on the verge of death.
Perfect. That sounds good. Great.
Usually me, but
I have a pretty nice cloak that helps me in that situation too.
Oh, yes, you do.
Yes.
Yes.
And since we bought it before we went to the Pint of Pain, I just kind
Speaking
of
of which,
while
I
was
do
playing.
believe I have, for those of you who are part of the Discord, I do believe I put that on the Discord. Wah, wah, wah. It is the Wisp Cloak. Thank you for the Griffin Saddlebag. They have helped me out with some really cool stuff. Yeah, it's tattered at the bottom, and it just kind of has just a tiny bit of glow. Nothing mechanically light. And it has
billows softly though
it
in the wind,
billows
even without wind.
It's like a little fog machine is within it. It creates a little bit of fog, but not enough to actually disperse more than a couple inches away from you.
That's handy.
Very handy.
Yeah.
Potentially also owned by a hero of Cole's, or at least somebody that Cole is very interested in.
Long rest.
It gets me to do so many
Temple.
things just by mentioning that character's name, like the Gut Buster, which was a lot of fun.
Sure it
Great.
was.
Just because you were in jail, man.
You know, we could have our own.
You were
little
super
Ghostbuster.
salty about that because you went in a drinking competition without the dwarf. You were so
Yeah.
upset.
I think he's also a little upset that there's a human who actually
Oops.
won a dwarven drinking competition.
There's no record anymore.
True.
Great. So, anything else before you guys bed down this evening? Great. You guys, yes.
The only thing is Cole works on a couple more things for his song, a couple more lines.
Sure. And again, like, you know, it's unnecessary, but like the dome will dissipate like a couple minutes before you guys are done with your rest. But yeah, the way I run long rests is that it's in the book it says like 6 hours of actual sleeping and then 2 hours of like light activity. Fuck it, y'all have to sleep for 8 hours. You do some really crazy shit during the day. It doesn't make any sense for me to. No, like y'all it just makes more sense for us to just keep it all 8 hours of actual sleep, and then you wake up and then do whatever you need to do.
I haven't
But
slept 8 hours for 9 years.
you're preaching to the choir. I totally understand. I know that. But granted, if you were expending magic and doing the things that you guys are doing, yeah. This is Kenton, the resident jiver. He likes to chide me often. Great. So you guys rest for the evening. Please, Revik and Conk, roll perception checks for me as you guys are on watch. They can remain on watch for the entirety of the evening. They don't need to take shifts, because you have two characters that don't need to sleep. What you do? I'll never be able to surprise you. That's no good.
Well, you can still surprise us. It's
I
just,
know
you
you'll come up with something evil.
I have so many ideas.
Because that didn't happen when we had Pernua either.
Right.
23.
Also didn't
18.
need to sleep.
18, yeah, 23 and 18. A tremor happens in the evening. Revik, you reach into your. This is normal for the area. Conk knows from the orders and the conversations that you have had before. Granted, he doesn't really have too much of his own thinking power, but he knows that this is normal. There's a time where one of you has to like move your foot out to stabilize yourself. The rest of you sleep through it. It's normal for being underground, especially this deep, that tremors happen. Other than that, nobody comes by the triway. Every once in a while, sometimes Conk will go to the edge of the area and take a look at the triway, just like doing his little patrol. No notices of any other signs of life. You guys wake up the next morning. I believe that this is the 7th of Hylock, correct?
Yep.
Great. You gather your things. Is there anything else? Is there anything you guys would like to do in the morning before you head out for your travel?
Finish what I was tinkering on.
Right. Oh, you're working on an infusion?
Nope. This is so I'm gonna burn my gnomish ability to make clockwork devices.
Ooh, yes.
So I can spend coins worth of resources to build actual devices.
Correct.
But I have to constantly upkeep them or they break.
Right.
I took the one light orb that I have left that I had dimmed down to like a softer, like more sunlight light.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to build that into a music box. When you open the lid, that light sort of shines off of little polished metal bits and twinkles a little bit, and it plays the lullaby.
Thank you. This is
Like the melody of the lullaby.
Yep.
Cool.
yeah, and it's still kind of that dimmer light, so it
Yep.
looks like more
Like a
sun.
softer yellow.
I think I have that actually prepared.
Oh,
I have to find the
Yeah.
right one though, but I'll find it later.
I don't know if this will help calm you, but I figured it couldn't hurt. I will need to wind it up each night to keep it working, but
Yeah. And how long does it last for? Is it just the one time through the song, or is it?
well, as long as you have the lid open, it'll continue
That's really helpful for
to roll through the
so
song.
that it's not dim humming of machines all night. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the springs that keep it working, they do unwind, so it'll take me a bit of work each morning to rewind it, but it'll keep working until we don't need it any longer.
I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will save this and use it when I'm starting to feel a little anxious. So you don't have to spend all that time in the mornings necessarily.
For mechanical purposes, I'll allow you to, if you would roll a wisdom saving throw for a trigger that has some relation to that type of thing, I'll give you advantage on it.
Okay, if I have
If you're playing the...
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just write that down.
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever you need to do to remember that.
Cool.
Great. Anything else you guys do before you continue your journey? Yes.
Cole's gonna pull out his little mirror and take a look and check to see if his eyes are still that red color that everybody's been telling him about.
Yeah. Doesn't seem to be changing, dissipating at all. whatsoever. I believe you have the black pupils and red crimson sclera, correct?
Yeah, he's still got his green eye, I think, but yeah, his sclera is red.
Okay, so
It's like red, green, and
green
then black.
iris, black pupil,
Yeah.
red sclera.
Yeah,
So you look Christmassy.
very Christmas.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Perfect.
Krampusy.
Boots.
Krampusy, yeah.
We may want to do something about this before we get anywhere. I don't know how well people are going to respond to a human with constantly red eyes. Do you have anything that could help?
No.
Could you make
I mean,
something? that
we're
could
going
help?
into Dwarven land anyways. They're going to be suspicious of a human regardless.
We
if
would
it's
notice
people.
the difference.
So you're just saying we all look alike? Is
I
that what you're
also
saying?
have red eyes. I also have red eyes, and it hasn't been a problem.
Exactly.
There you go.
Like the sclera and color of eyes down here in the underdark / underground. It's
weird.
It's all over the map, so people usually just don't think of it. I mean, often there are drows sometimes that have just jet black eyes. I mean, there's fetchlings that have jet black eyes. There's drow that have like black sclera. I mean, some not always, but I mean the whole eye aesthetic.
Red, purple.
Down
Yeah.
here, that may not matter.
No.
Maybe when we leave the tunnels, though.
Maybe we get you some sunglasses, you know?
Oh
And
my
you can
god!
wear
Yes.
exactly.
Glasses at night, so I can.
I'll start thinking of
That's
some
all I can get
ideas.
before I get sued.
Oh yeah, that's all I was going with.
Yeah.
I'll start thinking of some things that could perhaps make you look more normal.
Can thaumaturgy do that for other people or just yourself?
I think just to the self. Yeah, and I'll Rowan Atkinson.
Fantastic.
I love. You need to send me a list of your like.
Yeah,
you
do
have like.
have this like
You have
I
like
do
Danny
have a list. I do
Trejo,
have a
Rowan
list.
Atkinson, Steve Buscemi,
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen,
Carrot Top.
Carrot Top.
I did share that one actor with him too that you've seen before. I did send that to him
Yeah, so
from
that's
the
on
other
the
one.
list.
From what? Oh,
Yeah, the one that I showed you guys in the other campaign.
yeah. He was like. He looked like the guy from. It wasn't Misery. It was. Oh God, what's that?
He's actually in who like support your local sheriff and support your local gunfighter.
I was thinking the movie where, not Unforgiven. The
It looks like he's been in a lot of westerns from the.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
I
what was the
looked it
name of
up.
the movie where? Oh God, this is a horrible thing. But where, like the brothers went out into the wilderness and bad shit
yes.
happened. You know what I'm talking about? Like the brothers went out into the wilderness and like,
Oh yeah. And
you know what the
support your local
talking about?
gunfighter,
It's
support
called
your
Deliverance?
sheriff. Yeah.
Deliverance. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking
He might have
Deliverance.
actually been in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might have. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally shared that with him because I was like, Log will love this person.
Right. Okay. Anything else then, guys? Before you head out for the day?
Nothing specific.
Willow, you're intending to stay with this group then?
Oh yes, they're heading north.
Yeah. They're heading north and they have information on the
Yeah,
Primordials.
Which direction are you coming from anyway? Did you come from Caradine like us?
Oh, I came from the temple.
Okay. I don't know if I know where the temple is.
How'd you
Where the
get?
temple is?
Where did
It's on
you
the
enter the triangle?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right.
So the city where the temple is just outside of the mountains to the west of Fulmore Bed.
Yeah.
There's no like
No, I remember
official
that.
way to get from the temple down
Right.
to
Right.
the city.
Except for the 1,000 steps or the.
The endless stair
Mhm.
goes
Endless
down
stairway.
to the surface. And
Right.
there's no actual way to get in from there. You'd have to find another way into the mountain.
There's,
Yeah.
I remember correctly, isn't it?
I
You guys can
believe
pull
there's
up the map
over.
if you want.
I mean, I
Yeah.
came out of like the
300,000.
western.
You came in, Willow. You traveled over the overworld down south,
Yeah.
all the way down to Minheim. before
Like I
you
did.
did.
She
Okay.
probably.
And then you started heading down south, and that's
Yeah.
how you get met these guys. We can put this here. So you
Yeah.
guys can see.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and there's over 3,000 steps.
Oh, that's all.
There's
Sounds easy.
a
I'm
lot
kidding.
more
I'm
than
kidding.
that.
There were way more
It's
than
not
I was
bad.
willing to count, so I just didn't even
Yeah.
try.
You are
3,000.
acutely aware that the endless stair is exactly 22,980 feet in vertical
22,980 feet.
altitude.
It's a long way to carry water.
Not for a month.
For those of you that don't know, Noelle actually played a monk of the Hoove in a previous campaign, so she's doing really good not
Trying,
medding.
but it's just like,
Not
yes,
leaking.
those stairs are terrible. But good.
I had a feeling that was the path she had taken, but I wanted to officially say it out loud.
Cool. Anything else before you guys head out? Oh, Revik. While the rest of this troop, this band of misfits and elves, half-elves, strange creatures that can shapeshift and possible, but yet not so sure if they're makers, and you get this feeling of anachronism. You yourself are an anachronism, a person out of time. What's going through Revik's head as the rest of them rest peacefully?
He spends a significant amount of time trying to decide whether or not he's dreaming.
And if he's possible of dreaming. If
No,
there's
he can
electric sheep
definitely
involved.
dream. He can definitely dream,
Okay.
but because he has had dreams. But he doesn't think this is a dream. He has spent time trying to figure out if this is some sort of test. This could be related to the fact that he is an advanced prototype, which is information I haven't shared with anyone here.
Right.
And that this could be a test. He believes that the not quite maker, junior maker, call him the junior maker,
Perfect.
he is beginning
I'll
to
take it.
suspect that he is lying to him about the state of the world and the war and this whole situation with the elf. They're a shapeshifter. He believes this person isn't actually an elf.
Because
that
you
they're
lack
probably-
perspective, really.
Well, and they're probably, especially with the banner, it was just a lot. It
Right.
just seemed like the whole thing was directed to aggravating him. And so he
enough.
figured that it was some sort of test. And so he's basically figuring that eventually this whole thing is going to unfold, and then he'll be deployed to the front in order to fight the elves.
Makes sense.
But the big part is that he doesn't really want to believe that the war is over. Because if the
That
war's
was his
over, then
purpose.
what is his purpose?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Interesting. You attempt to reconcile these thoughts as the rest of them stir and rouse, and the dome dissipates. You wake up, you do all those things that you had described. You pack up, you get ready, you all make eye contact with each other.
Mage armor.
You cast mage armor.
Hand out
One.
the coffee.
You hand out the coffee.
I need this cup of joe in the morning now.
Right.
This is fantastic. Thank you.
You imagine that you're running a little low on you have a lot of coffee, but you're running a little low on the coffee, knowing that you have enough to last you probably to Minheim.
Okay.
And then you
Do
might
I
have to-
know of any good places that actually sell coffee in Minheim?
You know of there's a place that does have coffee. It's in the
Okay.
overworld part of it. That's
Okay.
that's above ground. It's a trade. It's a Cafe Bustelo. No, it's a it's a cafe or like a trade merchant warehouse that does more dealings with actually the greater protectorate of Hilnsfarn than it does actually underground, because you can't grow coffee underground. It's a tropical plant. The Hillsfarn, usually the merchants will come in and they'll do that. You know a place that you could get some.
Okay.
It won't be the amazing
It's
quality
great.
that you're used to, but
His thing's a latte.
it's thanks a lot. Yeah.
Revik, any activity over the evening?
2 hours and 23 minutes into slumber cycle, there was a slight tremor. That is normal for this area.
Agreed? That's it?
That is it.
Good.
Okay. You guys pack up.
Who needs dark vision?
Please.
Okay.
Either that, or if you want, we can always take the day and just use light for the day.
We're on the road. It's not going to be that.
Okay.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
up to you. What do you guys do?
Nobody's going to care if we use light.
Of course, you have
just-
to re-up every hour.
Right, but yeah,
yeah, that only lasts for an hour.
You could also pull out the lantern we have that has a continual flame in it
That's
that I made like at the very beginning.
That we've never used.
second or third level, yeah.
You know what? Maybe we do that today. Maybe let's change it up. You know, like let's do
You
that.
don't have to actually
I'm
cast
getting
anything.
tired of casting light on my belt every time we walk into a cave anyway, so...
Perpetual magic lantern, go.
Zemdak writes a little note. Perpetual magic lantern.
I forget. Is it actually like on the end of the suspended, like
We put it inside a hooded lantern.
right? But then how are we carrying it?
Just
Then?
have
Is
your
it-
car
It has
carry
no.
it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It
Like,
has no
have-
heat or anything, and so I don't know.
Shakar in his current form isn't strong enough to carry it. It's
Aw.
heavier than him.
yeah,
An
poor
owl
little.
can't carry like
He's a burrowing owl. Too.
yeah, a burrowing owl cannot carry a 5-pound lantern. Sorry.
I mean,
What if it was an African?
Cole.
Oh, sure, African swallow, but not European swallow.
Right.
Cole needs to see, right? You want to carry the lantern?
Sure.
Okay.
Expect to
So
squish
you
a
have
bark
the
first
it's-
targeted
so it's
attack. Yeah.
for mechanical purposes, it serves as a bullseye lantern. I believe is how we flavored it. Correct?
I think
Yes.
so.
I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So it is directional, like 30-30, I think, or something like that. 30-foot bright, 30-foot dim. So it'll just go down where you're going. Great. Then you continue down Willow and Ribic. You follow suit, I assume, unless you have any objections with the
No.
rest of the group.
Not at all. I'd prefer to be with the person with the lantern, especially if he's out.
Great. Is there? We'll discuss this later. Is there any specific marching orders that you'd like to be in, or are you just kind of like moving en masse?
I would like to not be in the very front. I'm willing to be if that's where I'm stuck.
Okay. Then
How wide is the tunnel again? It's
it's
pretty
like
wide,
20 to 20. It's
So we could
20 to 30
We
feet.
could even like kind of do
Yeah.
a couple of like
right? Yeah, 2
rows of
or
3 or
3.
something.
Depending on
like
its
that.
construction, it's anywhere between 20 and 30 feet wide in certain areas, to allow several carts to like arrive in pretty much like 2 lanes on each side, as it were. For as far as like carts are concerned, obviously it gets wider in some areas because of the hardness of rock and shorter in other areas. But yeah,
Okay, so yeah, I mean we can do 2 by 2 or
Yeah.
2,
or even we
Or
can do
3.
3 by 3 or 4 by 4.
Yeah, we could do 3 by 3 because
sure, you can like move as a battalion, like a
Yeah.
detachment, if you want
Yeah,
to. Yeah.
because I'm not.
Granted, you'll have to like concise if anybody comes by that's going in a certain way, but sure.
Like when you're walking.
But it's the
down
other side, so yeah.
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 With like 3 people, and the sidewalk shortens, and one person just.
Sure.
Gets
So
shoved.
if you're doing if you're doing it in like block sections, don't worry about it. So somebody then roll please the percentile die for the.
I think one of you two should
Yeah.
roll the silver.
The newest party
Our
Yeah.
silver percentile die.
Yes.
party travelers.
I give that honor to you.
Okay.
It lands with a
Oh
thud.
my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
You couldn't get this through TSA.
No.
Not in a million years.
Massive orbital metal D100.
It's a 98.
98. Okay. Rivik, will then you please roll me a D4?
Oh, I don't know if that's good D4 or a bad D4.
Nobody knows.
4.
Anytime TJ asks for anything, I just assume it's bad.
There's been a few times where it's been a good thing, you know.
Oh yeah.
On occasion.
Yeah.
But then I'm pleasantly surprised.
He's waiting.
Uh-oh.
You continue down the triway. Eventually you see what looks like the sputtering light of a possible fire or campfire that has been lit farther down the side tunnel. It is glimmering orange and yellow light throughout the triway. The smell of fresh roasted food, a stew possibly. This like kind of welcoming air of like, someone set up camp and they're like making something fresh. And it's like warm and inviting. What do you do?
Is it like lunchtime?
Yeah, for sure.
And
Some of you are getting hungry.
Okay.
Do I hear anything from there?
You hear cracking of a fire.
Okay.
The slope kind of like goes down and kind of does switchbacks. And it's just like reflections off of the condensated cave walls that kind of like give that light, that bang, 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 bounce it off until it hits the triway.
Anybody want to go see if they have lunch?
Do you want to send Shakar down there to just go peek and then poof back?
Yeah, I think that works, and I can then
Make sure it's not sun trap.
sure. I warg into Shakar and come on, buddy, go see. He flies towards the top of the cavern and is trying to be a little stealthy.
Go ahead and roll stealth check.
That is 14 or 13 or I'm sorry, 11. I can do
11.
math. I promise. Oh my god.
Shakar, at first was like, okay, I can do this, and hits into a wall. Like, sorry, and then reasserts themselves in the air and continues going down there. You guys can hear the sound of their wings fluttering, echoing through the cave. So maybe not as stealthy as you had originally thought. Eventually, they reach the end of the cavern. They see a campfire that is burning. Doesn't seem to have abandoned anytime soon. There appears to be what looks like a roasted boar that only appears to be partially eaten, moved to the side a little bit, but staying warm from the campfire. The cavern opens up to large stalagmites, or stalactites, I should say, hanging from the ceiling, and nearby, not built into, but parts of metal have been leaned up against the wall and put in certain ways to form a makeshift house or hut, as it were. That is near this campfire. The sound of shifting comes from inside the hut, as though somebody's in there, like creaky floorboards.
I just find the perch, little buddy, and hang out and keep seeing, and then I will describe what I saw to everybody just in a very monotone. This is what I saw. There's a boar. It seems like there's some people. Shakar's gonna hang out for a bit.
Are there wild boars in the driveway?
I can't hear you.
Anyone else think this might be related to Granny Lonely?
That's what I was thinking too. We found another granny.
Who is Granny Lonely?
A hag.
Willow.
Really?
There are apparently a coven of hags
We know of Granny
that are all
Lonely
known
and
as grannies.
Granny Friendly.
We've heard of Granny Friendly, but
Yes.
we know Granny Lonely.
Correct.
They are, as far as hags go, helpful.
Roll a perception check for Shakar.
We should definitely go say hello.
Just caution. Lots and lots of caution.
Come on, guys.
Do not make agreements. Do not.
12.
12.
I am, after the last time, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
It's a good choice.
Nope.
Peering past the light of
Back
the
talk.
campfire, Shakar perched on some stalagmite in the area. You see some hunched over figure, like what looks like trimming some sort of fungal lawn out up in front of the hut, being like, whippersnappers always growing stuff from the lawn.
There's a crotchety old...
Oh,
Oh no,
no,
she...
please.
They seem to have spotted Shakar.
Dude.
It is a dude.
Old hunched over man with stringy hair, being like,
It's a nice mushroom farm.
it appears we have company.
I could make a really good mushroom stew.
Well, if you want
That might distract you. You can't hear me.
Nope, I cannot.
I suppose you're supposed to come inside then, as us normal and per se guests are supposed to be treated with the utmost respect.
What does he... Can I make any other...
You can make that after the break. As we're going to take a break. Guys, if you're watching this episodically, please head over to the next episode. Thank you for watching. We'll be back in a couple minutes.